Hi everybody, how are you? We're here to do a live stream. So if you guys don't remember, this is Chip. Chip is on used to be on my podcast a lot. He's a very busy man. He's all professional, being an adult, and he doesn't have time to hang out with me anymore. But he wanted to be on this live stream here, so hey, I thought, what the hell, let's do a live stream. So we're all hanging out. So this is the usual rules apply, except there's both of us. It's a live Q&A. There's no real show to this. You just ask questions, we answer it. Priority goes to anybody who super chats or does like PayPal donations, but that's not a requirement. That's up to you. If you want to do it, PayPal information's in the description. Super chat is just the little dollar symbol below there. But otherwise, we're just going to hang out and talk and answer your questions. So this is a unique opportunity. I know there are Chip fans. There's a lot of every single month, dude. Every single month, the podcast comes out now without you, and I just see like hashtag bring Chip back. So this is your opportunity.
That's from one person. That is a one-person movement.
You like to believe it's just one person. He represents a million. So if you guys have questions for Chip, see, there's a bunch of people being very nice to you, Chip. So if any of you have questions for Chip or me, of course, feel free, and we can hang out. So let's just get into it. How long do we plan to stream? It's me, so I have no idea. It just kind of goes. But in this case, since Chip is on this, I'm kind of letting him control when it ends, because he has this thing called a job where he has to like get up in the morning and go do that. I work, but I can work at home, and I kind of control my own hours. So thank you. Derek Lasaga just super chatted. He says, do you see Nintendo releasing a Switch Pro at some point, or a dock that has hardware built in to allow DS fans to play DS and 3DS games on their TVs? What do you think about that, Chip? Because you're more the handheld guy than I am. Thank you, Derek, by the way.
Yes, thanks, Derek. I'm going to go backwards. I'm going to address the first, or the last part first.
Please do.
Which is adding a dock hardware to support DS, 3DS games on TVs. I doubt it. Most likely I could see them... I guess for one reason is, if you're going to support DS or 3DS games, you need that touchscreen, which the Switch does not have, right? So I don't think they'd add...
No, the Switch has a touchscreen.
It does?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
How have I never noticed that?
It comes with a stylus.
What?
Doesn't it? What am I thinking?
What?
No, I'm pretty sure you can touch the screen on the Switch and like turn on games.
What?
Right?
That's a thing?
Am I wrong?
Have I used this thing for so long and never noticed that you can touch it?
Switch? Are you like relatively close to it?
No, it's down.
By the way, we're professionals. We have all the knowledge. We know all about these things.
While we get yelled at for not knowing anything about the console, let's go back to the next part, which is ignoring whether or not it even has touch support in the first place.
I swear it does. I swear it does. Maybe I'm wrong.
If there's a stylus,
Switch has a touchscreen. Switch has a touchscreen. People are saying Switch has a touchscreen.
All right.
Thank you, Cameron, for the backup. No stylus. So we were halfway on that. Remy backed you up about no stylus.
Okay.
So we'll just,
I do not.
I forgot. I'm using a Wii U case that came with extra styluses to hold my Switch, so that's where I got the stylus part from. But I swear it had a touchscreen.
I just never bothered to touch the screen. What even support? Does the main menu support that?
Yeah, I know you can use it to like start up games and stuff.
But you never done it.
No, I've done it apparently.
Are you okay? All right. Okay. So ignoring that aspect.
Yes.
Nintendo itself, I just don't see them doing anything remotely like that, because why would they release, especially DS games, older DS games, why would they do that when they can just have another virtual console, quote unquote, that basically just runs the same thing?
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Like, I can't see them, giving away that kind of thing anymore. They're not going to try and make money off the hardware anymore. They're trying to make money off the software, so you can infinitely resell that library. I think that's how they're going to do it.
Yeah, I mean, it is interesting. So I haven't used the Switch in a month, a little more than a month. I can't remember. I used it recently to play Doom. That was fun. But other than that, I haven't used it recently to do anything else. I don't know if the store has added a virtual console of any kind yet. I know people wanted that.
I know there are some things on there, but again, I don't play digital, so I'm totally the wrong person to ask. I do know that they are bringing like GameCube support. I didn't say stylist. I said stylus.
Stylist. Yes, you walk in.
It's a hairstylist for your Switch, yeah.
You just have a giant Nintendo logo in your hair. That's how it works.
Dude, that would be badass.
Okay, so how would they do that? Would they just buzz Buzz like cut your hair just to leave like a Nintendo logo there, or they actually try to like give a bunch of mousse in your hair to form the words Nintendo?
It depends on the generation, man. Like what decade it is, it's gonna have different types of Nintendo haircuts.
Okay, well that was challenging. What was the other part of this? I already forgot. Let's see.
We'll just scroll up and
Yeah, do you see Nintendo releasing a Switch Pro at some point?
Yes,
I could see that. Yeah, for sure.
yeah,
I could see
definitely.
that.
I see absolutely Nintendo will release a beefier version of the Switch at some point. Now, beefier could mean anything. Like it could mean it has a better camera. You know what I mean? Like Nintendo does that shit all the time. To put in additional hardware that for games that old Switches, if you want to call them that, can't play, I could see them doing that too. I mean, they were the first guys to do that with the 3DS and the new 3DS. Yeah. I don't think they would do it this year, but I do think that they'll do that.
Yeah, they could do that if they run into a problem where third party starts to wane away because they don't have the capability to make games or port them over anymore. Once that starts hitting a roadblock, they might consider it. I think it depends on how soon that will be. I mean, you're already having folks say that they can't port some of the modern games. I mean, Doom was amazing to get that thing running decently on a Switch. But going forward, I'm curious if they're going to be able to do anything like that again.
Yeah, it depends. I mean, it's all about the money, man. If they're selling copies of these big third party titles, like I don't know how well Skyrim and LA Noire and all that have sold, but if they are, you'll keep seeing them.
Yeah.
Anyway, you go ahead and pick the next question there, man. Thank you, Derek.
Oh, someone asked me if I was from Canada. I'm not. I don't live in Canada either.
You've never even been to Canada, have you?
No, I've been to Canada.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Neither of us are Canadians.
No. That'd be cool, though. I do love maple syrup.
Yeah, because that's all that Canada has. Maple syrup. That is called sarcasm, Canadians. Don't get offended.
Question for you, Adam.
Plus, Derek, who super chatted, was Canadian. I could tell by the currency.
Nice.
So you be nice to him.
I mean, I love Canadians.
Exactly.
Like Scott the Canadian's awesome.
Scott the Canadian's legit. He might show up. He does that sometimes.
What was I going to say? I forgot.
I don't know.
Something about, is it just a joke, or does Canada actually have a vault of maple syrup?
You'd have to ask a Canadian. Only Canadians would know these things.
Well, now I need to know. Is that actually a thing, or is that something someone just made up on the internet to be funny?
One of my favorite vault stories. I only have one vault story about Canada, but it's totally legit and it's interesting. It's video game related. So those infamous like Philips CDI games that Nintendo licensed but didn't make, like the Zelda ones and the Mario ones, were developed in Canada. So they released the 3 Zelda ones. They released Hotel Mario, and then there was 2 other Mario ones. Mario's Wacky Worlds, which leaked onto the internet, and then a third one nobody knew about until a couple of years ago. So what was happening with that one, it was being developed in Canada, and then they ran out of money, and the Canadian government seized the assets of the game. So to this day, it's sitting in a Canadian vault in Ottawa somewhere, and if anybody pays that fee, you'll leak this licensed Mario game that's never seen the light of day. There's your Canadian Maple Vault.
Huh.
We got a donation on PayPal from Robert Janos, who's a good dude. He's a Patreon backer, and I've met him. He came to hang out with me at AVGC last year. Or this year. He says, "Happy holidays, gentlemen. Glad to see you back, Chip. Miss you on the podcast." I told you had fans. Do you think that Nintendo's policies of cannibalizing Wii U exclusives for the Switch will have an impact on the value or collectability of Wii U games? Thanks. First of all, thank you for the donation. So if you guys want to do that, by all means, you can do that. Information in the description. Second of all, to the question, I would say, yeah. I think the Wii U will be a very collectible console in the future because it has a quality library. It also uses physical media. It actually reads off the disc. For the most part, it doesn't require a lot of patches and stuff. But, and I said this in a different video, one of the things that made the Sega Saturn so collectible is that most of its games never made it anywhere. The Wii U is kind of an interesting parallel because it's like that, but a lot of its best titles are being cannibalized for the Switch. So, in a sense, a lot of these great exclusives on there will see the light of day elsewhere. And so I think that is going to hurt it in the long run. In the short run, probably not so much, but that's kind of my take on it. In the long run, I think that, yeah, that will probably have an impact on it. What do you think?
Yeah, that sounds reasonable to me. I mean, I think you'd have more insight into this than I would. So, yeah, I mean, I got the games I wanted for it, so I don't really think about going in the future aspect that much.
So yeah, you've never been much of a collector. You should probably tell them about your collecting situation.
Oh, real quick. No, I have not gotten a Pippin.
Yeah, that's an old joke from all the. See, everybody keeps asking you that. Even Remy.
One person is everyone. Wait,
Remy asked you. Michael asked you, and I know I saw it before. People know. But go ahead.
Okay, what were we actually talking about?
We're talking about collections and what your situation as a collector is.
Yeah, collecting. I mean, I'm not one that goes to complete a set per se. I did at one point get quite a few of the Dreamcast games and quite a few PlayStation games. A lot of them were focused on RPGs or action games, adventure games. A lot of the ones that I wanted to play. I usually would get games to play, although now I have so many games that I just haven't bought many new games. I think the only games I bought recently were for the Switch, just because I liked having a portable console to play some of these games on, like Doom. But for the most part, I don't really care about getting games that I won't play, or at least potentially play. And at this point, I'm actually considering selling off parts that I will not get to.
So we have a bit of a response about the collectability being disputed, saying like that's probably not going to happen. Or where was that comment? It just vanished.
Yeah.
It was come on, Adam. They will only take the big Wii U games, but the rest will be collectible material. You would be right, except most of the quote unquote best are really the only games that anybody's going to want. So like for example, the ones that might become valuable in normal situations. I'm going to use the Sega Saturn as a parallel. So the most valuable games on the Saturn are things like Panzer Dragoon Saga, Burning Rangers, like really good games that only exist on that console and in very limited runs. And then games like Knights, which is a great game on the Saturn, was actually able to be ported to other things. So that one's not worth nearly as much. And I kind of get the feeling that the Wii U, since it didn't really have much third-party support and its best first-party support, is going to likely be ported. Mario Kart 8, perfect example. Pokken Tournaments now, and that just happened with. What are some of the other ones that there was another one recently. Well, obviously Zelda Breath of the Wild, but that's a little bit different. But I still think that things like Smash Bros. And stuff are going to eventually make their way over to the Switch, and I think that that's going to hurt it, because currently, anyway, the most valuable games on the Wii U are Hello Kitty Cruisers, The Croods 2, Turbo, like games that are junk. They just had low print runs. That's a little bit different. That's like Atari 2600 era type of collecting logic, where like the rare ones are the ones that just didn't have many copies, even if the games suck. So that's why I'm a little worried about it in the future, because of the cannibalizing thing. So I think that's a very good point that Robert brought up. That said, I do still think it'll be a collector's console down the road, because it's a relatively small amount of games you can get. Derek Lasaga super chatted again, says my phone glitched up. Did you see my last question? No. What was it? Just repeat it and we'll acknowledge it.
Yeah.
While you do that, we got a PayPal donation from Joshua Finzi, who says, "Hey Adam/Chip, what do you think would be?" Okay. I don't know. I just wasn't expecting you to do it. Anyway, hey Adam/Chip, what do you think would be a good concept for a live-action Star Wars TV show? Oh,
you just opened the floodgates.
I literally just went and saw The Last Jedi again this morning.
Don't spoil it. I haven't seen the movie yet.
Oh, why would you tell them that?
Oh no!
Why would you say that? You fucking idiot! Why would you do that? Okay, please, guys, please don't ruin it for him. Please don't do that to him. You guys, I always talk about how you guys are like the greatest fans. Please don't do that to him. Don't do that to him. Don't prove me wrong. Chip is such a good person. Don't screw the movie up for him.
Well,
anyway,
we'll find out.
Base concept, I really want to see a show that really fills that gap between Return of the Jedi and Force Awakens. Force Awakens did an unbelievably poor job of establishing the set of the state of the galaxy, and I just want to see a show that takes place in there, well, largely about the fall of the Empire, what they were doing in that last year with the Battle of Jakku, and then just, you know, going from there and just seeing what the recovery is. I know you can't necessarily follow Luke in that unless you did it animated, but I want to see that kind of storyline. I think that would be the most interesting. There was a time I would have said the gap between, you know, Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope, but I think Star Wars Rebels and Rogue One really kind of covered that for us. What about you?
We're talking about live action, right?
We are talking live action was a qualifier. That's why I put it in there.
Actually, can you restate the whole thing? It was live
Sure.
action with what?
What do you think would be a good concept for a live-action Star Wars TV show? That's from, again, Joshua Finzi. Thank you, Joshua.
Yeah, I remember at one point I was reading. I can't remember if it was the Star Wars that became uncanon or if it was Star Wars that became canon. But there was some Wikipedia article, or not Wikipedia. There's a what is that Wikia site? Wikia that has like all the Star Wars
Wikipedia?
lore. Huh?
Wikipedia?
Wikipedia. There we go. I was reading through that because there's a lot of interesting stuff there, and I was reading about who was it? It was because I was curious at the time. Well, what happens to Luke Skywalker going forward? And this was before they even released the 7th film. That was
Force Awakens.
Yeah. Okay. I'm trying to remember who it was. I think I was reading up on what happened to Luke going forward, and then it was someone else who I think became non-canon, but they were a bounty hunter as well. But if not that, Clone Wars would be interesting as a live action, I think.
Yeah, they're Disney's never going to that era.
Of course, they're never going to. This is more of a what would be amazing though, because I'd like to see.
I love that Clone Wars animated show. I think it's fantastic. I think any Star Wars fan needs to watch that. I don't think they need to go back to that era. The most you need to do is let Disney properly finish up those last 7 episodes that they had that were like animated but not released. That's it. You're never going to do anything beyond that. I mean, it's your opinion, obviously.
Wait, they had more episodes?
There was 7 unproduced episodes where they finished all the audio work and just had like a tech reel of them. You can actually see them online for free. Disney released them, but they just never quite finished the animation because Disney shut that down. I would love to see those get finished, but that's as far as it's going to get. But those 7 episodes are canon. The one I remember offhand is they find the giant Kyber crystal that ultimately goes into the Death Star in one of the episodes.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So hopefully, Joshua, that answers that question. I know it's kind of a vague premise, but I want a live action show that follows the fall of right after Return of the Jedi, going into the Battle of Jakku, and then just kind of setting up that universe better, because Force Awakens did a horrible job at that. Derek, I still haven't seen your question. Just keep posting it. I will see it. We got a super chat from Shift Happens Podcast. Adam, is it all possible that Shenmue 3 would come with a VMU link cable to carry over Shenmue 2 saves, or how else could this practically be done? First of all, you have to... short answer, no. I can't imagine they would ever do that. I do like the idea that if the HD remasters, if that becomes a thing, which it probably will... that has that kind of support, but the only way that's a thing is if, first of all, Sega knows they're doing it, and EaseNet knows they're doing it, and they've actually built the game with that in mind, which it's kind of a tall order. We really don't know that. I would say I would expect, unfortunately, to lose that feature, which is, to me, is brutal, because I've been touting it for years, like how valuable that is if you're really playing the game. But it is what it is. Hopefully they were smart enough to plan that out, but something tells me they probably dropped that.
Yeah. I think, like you said... Huh?
I'm sorry, did you ever end up playing Shenmue? Do you know what he's talking about?
About being able to continue on with the save from one game to another? I mean, I didn't play Shenmue all the way through, but I played Suikoden. Suikoden heavily did that. I mean, it had 5 games where you basically ported over your previous save from PlayStation to PlayStation 2. Actually, that's it, because they didn't go to PS3.
That's well, then there you go. All right. So I see Derek's question. He just said the same question about do you think they'll release a Switch Pro or a dock that can play DS and 3DS games? So we did answer that, but the short answer is we do think they'll do some sort of upgraded Switch, and we don't think that they'll do any sort of physical DS or 3DS adapter. This video will go public, as a watchable video after the stream, so you can watch it. Your question will be like right at the beginning. So we got a super chat here from Randall Kornick. Says, highly recommend Nier Automata, such a hidden gem. I have not played that game personally, but we did do a video of it on my other channel on Game Society that we made for Machinima, actually. So I know we've had some exposure with that. Did you end up playing that?
What was that on?
PS4, and was it just PS4 or was it an Xbox One version? I think it was just PS4 as far as consoles go.
I don't have either of those consoles, so obviously no. But... All
right then, there might be a PC version, but that I really don't know.
It was the spiritual sequel to the Nier. What was the other part of it? It's Nier something.
Hey, it's John
360.
Riggs. Everybody say hi to John Riggs. He's part of Metal Jesus Rocks' crew.
Oh. Hi, John Riggs.
I just wanted to call him out because I saw him there. Anyway, go on, Chip. Sorry.
That was basically it. I was trying to remember because I have the spiritual prequel, if that's a thing, which was on the 360, which was also apparently good, but I've not played this one. I've just heard of it.
All right. You weren't annoying, Derek. Trust me, you're good. So you pick the next question there, Chip. What you got?
Ooh, well, I was not actually. That's kind of listening to your soothing voice.
Thank you, thank you.
There was one. Someone asked, "What's your opinion on Adam not playing digital-only games like Sonic Mania?" I think that's his choice.
To be fair, I have.
Oh, you have?
I was gifted a copy of Sonic Mania for my Switch, funny enough, and I have been playing it on planes.
Oh, interesting.
Now, my position is I won't support them. But if they're free, fine. That's different.
Yeah, so I think that's his choice. I mean, there's so many games that you can still get physical, and once again, he has so many games, he could play all of the games he already owns till he dies, and he wouldn't finish them all.
Yeah, not even close.
So he could basically never buy another game again, and that would be fine. So I have no problem with him not playing digital games. I only play them on occasion. And really the digital games I play are ones that were open source games I contributed to. Like I contributed to Battle for West North. That was a fun one. It's still around. And a couple other things I've fiddled with. But
speaking of randomly supporting things, Dreamcast fans, there's a new Dreamcast game you guys can support called, I think, Xeno Crisis. Xeno space Crisis. I just backed it yesterday. I highly recommend checking it out. It's a Kickstarter.
What kind of game is it?
I don't know.
You just backed it without even watching it?
I support Dreamcast, and people are asking, like, well, why don't you support digital? Because I like to own stuff, and also Dreamcast is my favorite thing, so that's physical. I love to support that, and I know that makes me look kind of weird, but hey, I stand by my principles. I am principled. I will stand in there. Physical media. I know I'm going down with the ship. I don't care.
That's impressive. I would have at least seen what the game was about.
Nah, I got to do it, man. I'm the Dreamcast guy.
So you just threw money at it and then left without actually seeing
That's
anything
unfortunately
about it.
the weird position I'm put in with Dreamcast stuff. But I'm yet to find a Dreamcast game other than Frog Feast where I bought it and I went, this was terrible. Like every single one of them I've enjoyed except Frog Feast, which was the one game ever that I bought and I totally fucking regretted. And then I found out later it's worth a fuck ton of money because they only made like 10 copies of it. So I was like, yes.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well.
Yeah, I'll take it. Why not?
Oh, wait. Was Xeno Crisis? That wasn't the one that they tried before.
That's Xenocider. That's two different games.
Okay.
I assume by different groups. We just got a PayPal donation here from Kyle Connor. It says, hey, Adam and Chip, Merry Christmas. Is there any cut, feature, or content you know of from a favorite game you wish had survived? Fun fact, Sonic 2 Remaster brought back a scrapped beta level, if you didn't know. So are you talking about, like, when they port it from one platform to another? Do you think that's what he means?
I guess. I mean, this sounds like something that was going to be in a game and then at some point got added in a remake.
I'm just trying to make sure I understand the question. Is there any cut, feature, or content you know of for a favorite game you wish survived? I
guess it doesn't actually mean that it
I'm gonna give
survived either. That just means you wish it survived.
Okay, so when I think about games I know a lot, then I know that they had content they originally were going to do and then they removed it. That's a different question than this game got ported to a different platform later and they changed something.
I think it's the former, not the latter.
Okay, if it's the former, I hate to go back to the well on this, but I'm going to go with Shenmue because
you would.
Yeah, well, it's, to be honest, there's very few games where I study like all the phases of development and like every feature they were going to have at one point. But in that game, I know, for example, if you play the What's Shenmue demo, there was a crouching feature in that, which doesn't exist in the final game. I know betas of Shenmue 1 allowed you to ride a bicycle around, which does not exist in the final build. Stuff like that is interesting. Would be kind of cool to have back in there, although ultimately, I guess, not necessary. If you're talking about the other idea about games that went from one platform to another and they changed something, I might actually go with... Like, Sonic Adventure 1 had a bunch of free DLC on the Dreamcast, which did not appear in the GameCube version or Xbox 360 version or any of that stuff. That kind of thing would probably be my answer. What about you?
I don't know that much about the games I've played to know if there was something missing, except for a couple which I know were ported to another system and then had something added in, which I would have liked to have had when I was playing it. Like I think Skies of Arcadia, when I went to the GameCube, it had some like an extra level or something added to it. But I was playing that on the Dreamcast. So that would have been nice to have had on the Dreamcast originally.
Yeah. I mean, I know of ones where they added stuff later. I'm talking about, I think the question is when they stripped something out.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. They could have stripped it out because the Dreamcast couldn't run it, and then the GameCube could. Who knows?
Yeah.
Or they didn't have time to finish it. I don't know, but I don't actually know off the top of my head of any game I played where it's like, oh, there was something that didn't make the cut. I just know that I played a game, so I can't.
All right, so if we want to go with that logic of a game that you like, and then they added something later to different ports, one of my favorites, and I think that it was exclusive to just this version. If you play Sonic the Hedgehog 1 on the Genesis, infamously he doesn't have the spin dash, right? And like in every version of the when they re-release it, he doesn't have the spin dash. But if you play Sonic Jam on the Sega Saturn, which is just a collection of Sonic games, that version of him, he has the spin dash in Sonic 1. It's like a totally different mechanism for the game, and you're like, holy shit, this makes it feel a lot more like the other Sonic games. But as far as I know, with maybe the exception of like the Game Boy Advance 20-year remaster or something, other than that, I think that no version of Sonic 1 had the spin dash. But you guys would probably know that stuff. So, look, there's people who say they love you and they miss you.
Oh,
but we got
so sweet, guys.
We got a couple of donations here though. On PayPal. We got, first thing is from Alan Stoughton, who says, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Hey man, I love the idea of game/console collecting, and I have dabbled with it in the past, but I'd like to know what your end goal is. I know game/console collecting technically never ends, but surely you must have a personal end goal. Maybe as simple as to eventually own every game on every console or any other. Thanks, man. Well, first of all, thank you for the donation. Second of all, it is an interesting question because collecting is fundamentally illogical. It's also fundamentally irresponsible. No part of me disputes that. So when it comes to a goal, it's usually very specific. Like when I was collecting Dreamcast, my goal wasn't like, I'm going to get every video game ever. It was like, I'm just going to get every Dreamcast game ever. That was the plan. And then you start thinking like, well, that was kind of fun. Let me see if I can do that with other platforms. So I go in these like cycles where I'm like, yeah, I really want to get every fucking Wii U game, but then eventually you run out. Or in my case, I'm just a few away. I'm kind of looking at OG Xbox right now because there's a bunch of them and they're cheap and you know it's easy to do. And some you get excited for different reasons, like the Sega Saturn. I really wanted to do because it's like, hey, that Sega's like platform I totally missed. It's small, whatever. But I can't even come close to it because like, well, I'm close-ish in the sense that I have a bunch of them, but the ones I don't have are like ungodly expensive and you have to go to eBay for all of them. So it changes depending on platform because sometimes it's just about what kind of excited me in that moment. And I was like, oh, that'd be kind of cool to pick this up, which incidentally, there's a video about this to an extent coming out tomorrow. My book off video from Tokyo. That's fun.
Ooh.
Yeah, that'll be good. It's like 25 minutes of weird Japanese pickups. You guys will like it. But yeah, I can't say like I sat down and went, all right, I have to own every video game ever because that's impossible. It's very like specific. But no, I can't say there's like a definitive stopping point, but I will say I'm probably slowing down. Because I'm getting way less interested in picking up current generation content because you go into it knowing the game is going to be broken. Like totally, it's a like some games are just discs that are keys. Like was a Super Lucky's Tale, for example, Xbox One game, physical release, only about 36 megabytes of data are on the disc, whereas the rest of it, it's like a 4 gigabyte download. It's like
why?
What's the point of the disc? Why did you do that? And it's getting worse, and Switch is probably going to be like the last holdout to that for an extent, but even the Switch is guilty of this because it just doesn't have enough storage on those little carts. Like that Resident Evil collection they came out with, it contains Resident Evil Revelations 1 on cart and then includes a little piece of paper with a code for Resident Evil Revelations 2. So there is no physical edition of Resident Evil Revelations 2. And then there's other games that are, not that I care too much about, like NBA 2K18, but that game's unplayable based just on its cart. So it's becoming less interesting. So I'm focusing a lot more on retro stuff, and right now that's the OG Xbox because it's just cheap. Chip, I know you said you're not as much of a collector, but do you have any sort of thing on that?
I mean, I definitely I think when we first met, I was still collecting a bit. I know you kept pushing me to buy some PlayStation games.
Oh, I always do that. You guys, I'm a terrible influence. If you ever hang around me, I'll just push you to buy stuff.
Oh, I remember you. I think we were we were in a half price books or something, and they happened to have Xenogears
Yeah.
in a drawer, and you're like, buy it, buy it. And I look over and it's kind of expensive. It's like, buy it anyway. I bought it, so there you go.
See, I won.
But now I definitely have slowed down because I play video games much less than even before. And I don't know, I have so many other interests that I want to commit money towards at this point. Like I take some art classes because I want to get better at art, and that's kind of fun. And I have a dog, and she is pretty demanding in terms of money. And a bunch of other stuff that goes on.
She always tells you got to go out and buy her stuff. And
oh yeah, I mean, I walked in this morning.
You wake up and she
said,
like,
"Hey, I need some shoe sticks."
And you're like,
"So you'll get some."
Bitch.
Mm-hmm. Exactly
hey,
that.
It's my boy Trey. Trey's a good friend of mine. We literally, this is the dude that went off and we saw The Last Jedi this morning.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, he's good. He's a good man. He had a quick question there. Yo, Adam, there were piles of compilation discs for the PS2, Capcom Classics Collection, etc. We've only seen 2 large game compilations for the last gen systems. What should be made now? Are you mean like 7th gen stuff that appears on 8th gen in compilation form? I think
this means in general, right?
2 compilations now. He says Rare Replay and Mega Man 1. Okay, so he's talking about like anything as opposed to like, okay. Rare Replay I thought was a great surprise. I don't think a whole lot of people expected that. I mean, it was a big, they revealed it and said, oh, it'll be out tomorrow or whatever. That was pretty cool. I'd love to see Nintendo do that. Basically what they did with the NES Mini and SNES Mini, I'd love to see them do on like a Switch cart. They'll never do it because they don't have to, but I'd love to see that happen. I could easily see Sega do like, hey guys, it's the next Sega Genesis collection, because they do that a million times.
Yeah.
I know people were talking about it that they're coming out with like USB based Saturn and Dreamcast controllers. Sega's licensing them, so it's entirely possible there is some sort of collection like that in the works. I wouldn't be surprised. I think it was actually on a podcast, a live stream like this, like earlier this month. It was on my birthday show. Somebody asked about should Sega make controllers, and I said they used to, and I brought out this like Saturn controller that's for the PlayStation 2. So, and that's fucked up. Like now all of a sudden they're like, yeah, we're gonna just do that. It's like, oh, that's cool. So I would hope they make I would hope Sega makes a bunch of collections. I'd love to see a proper Neo Geo collection. What about you?
I mean, I definitely like Mega Man, but didn't they wasn't that one of the 2 that were just listed as they had a Mega Man one? Yeah, so that was one I was a big fan of because there's so many good games there. Now, was it Mega Man or was it Mega Man X or was it a blend of
I think the first one is Mega Man 1 through 6.
Okay.
And the second one is like the Mega Man X games. I could be wrong about the second one. I don't own that one.
Okay, well, if it doesn't exist, I'd love a Mega Man X collection because that's what I grew up on.
Yeah, somebody tell us that. I'm not totally sure about that.
Let's see. I mean, I would love to have a Suikoden collection where they just kind of take the Suikoden games and let you play them all together, because those were amazing. See, and you could transfer your save games, so they would work perfectly.
I know Trey is a big Capcom guy, so I'm sure he's thinking like, wouldn't it be cool to have like a big Capcom collection? Yeah, Capcom I could see doing that, but they'll probably roll it out slower because Capcom's in a financially unstable place, but they're making money by making smart moves, and that would be a smart move, is a nice compilation of their stuff. I could see them doing that exclusively on Switch, by the way. Konami would be really nice, but they're never going to cooperate. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I'd love to see a Metal Gear Solid collection, like all for current gen. There's a lot of stuff both Konami and Capcom could release that would be great. I think Capcom will do it. I don't think Konami would do it, though.
Do you know who made Breath of Fire, that series?
Nintendo.
That was made by Nintendo
Well,
directly?
Nintendo owns it. I don't know who actually internally developed it, but I know it's Nintendo's franchise.
Because I love that one. I don't think they've made a new one in a while. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Trey. Okay, so we got another PayPal donation here, again from Robert Janos, who says, why do you think Microsoft hasn't taken advantage of their ownership of Rare to get more exclusives for the Xbox? Even if not made directly by Rare themselves, I would think the properties like Banjo-Kazooie, Conker, Perfect Dark, etc. have a good deal of nostalgia attached to them. They could garner a lot of attention for a game. For example, Super Lucky's Tale as Conker's game. So I've said before that, first of all, thank you for the donation. I thought when they first announced Super Lucky's Tale, that was a new Conker's game. When I first saw that trailer at E3, I was like, holy shit, Conker's coming back. And then it's like a totally different character that had nothing to do with it. And I was like, that's fucked up. I remember thinking that. And to your question, Rare has done essentially nothing in the entire time they've existed at Microsoft. The first game they did was Grabbed by the Ghoulies, which was originally in development for the GameCube. Then they did a remaster, and remake, really, of Conker's Bad Fur Day. That's all they put out on the OG Xbox. In like 6 years, that's it. Was those two.
Huh. Most of the team's not together anymore.
Yeah, what I've come to understand is that most people who worked at Rare, once Microsoft bought them, they kind of bailed ship. So Microsoft essentially bought a bunch of IPs that they, I guess, didn't really have confidence in, and then they haven't really done much with. And I think the reason we got Rare Replay was simply because you had a bunch of teams who were okay with making emulators. They owned these games. They thought, what the hell, this will compete with. At the time, you have to remember, NES Remix was kind of successful.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Exactly. So I think it was something like that. Like, Microsoft doesn't have a big nostalgic catalog they can pull from, but that one they own, so they thought, what the hell, we could do that. So I think that was a good move, but Rare's best days are behind them. I don't think they're going to do much. Sea of Thieves is coming, though. But I think that everybody involved with those games really had nothing to do with the Rare that we all kind of remember. And a lot of the people we remember from Rare went off to make, like, what was that, Yooka-Laylee? Which was the Banjo-Kazooie sequel you guys wanted. Oh, at least it's what they tried. Let's put it that way. I don't remember that game being particularly amazing.
I never heard of it.
Yeah, it was the Kickstarter spiritual sequel. It was kind of like Mighty Number 9. Like, they couldn't. It was the same situation where basically, like, Capcom says, "Hey, you can't make another Mega Man game. Fuck you. I'll just go off and make Mighty Number 9." That's the sequel.
Oh no!
And then Microsoft, who owns Rare, they say, "Hey, we want to make another Banjo-Kazooie game." You can't. Well, fuck you. We're gonna go off and make Yooka-Laylee. Or Konami owns Castlevania, and the guy's like, "I want to make another Castlevania." Fuck you. You can't. He's like, "Fine, I'll go make Bloodstained." The only guys who were cooperative with that little movement when that was a thing. When everybody's like, I want to bring back my IP from 10 years ago, the only guys who cooperated was Sega, who said, when, Yu Suzuki's like, I want to do Shenmue 3. They didn't say, fuck you, go do your... And he didn't make Cave Escaper Man. He went ahead and he made Shenmue 3. Yeah. So I always give Sega credit for that. Like, they didn't help make Shenmue 3 at all, but at least they didn't get in the way. That's all I've said. And that's enough, considering what Capcom, Konami, and Microsoft all did.
That's true.
But yeah, basically, I think that's just really the situation, is that the talent team isn't really there anymore. So it's basically just a name now. And I think they got a little bit of clout back with Rare Replay. But we'll see what happens with Sea of Thieves. We'll see.
How long has that been in development?
I'm not sure. I remember trailers for the last 2 years, so it has been a while. Mm-hmm. And to have a trailer come out 2 years ago means it's been in development much longer.
Right.
Yeah.
It reminds me as well. You remember did it ever come out the group behind Eco and Shadow of the Colossus? They're making another game. Did that ever come out?
Oh yeah, you're talking about why the fuck can't I remember it? It came out earlier this year. What was it, guys? Help me. With Taco or whatever the big animal was.
Was it only for PS4, I'm assuming?
Yeah, PS4. It was like a joke for the longest time. They're still gonna call us idiots, and they have every right to. Why am I Last Guardian?
Last Guardian.
It was Last Guardian.
And the thing's name was Taco?
It was something like Taco. I remember us thinking that was funny, and we called it Taco. Like, on Game Society, we played that game, and literally our thumbnail was that thing's head, and it had the body of a taco, because it sounded so much like taco.
Huh.
Somebody tell us what the actual name was. But like, I swear, we just thought it was. Taco. We kept saying taco, so we're like, all right, cool, taco.
It's the only thing it knows.
So we got another donation here from Joshua Finzi again. Thank you. Oh. Says, hi, Adam. Another film-related question. Most of my hype for the build-up of Jurassic World has been based on nostalgia, and after watching it several times, in my opinion, it has changed a lot. a lot. Just seeing the Fallen Kingdom trailer, and I'm nowhere near as excited this time around. What are yours and Chip's thoughts on the Jurassic Park / Jurassic World series? You take it away, Chip.
Let's see. So Jurassic Park is in the classic Jurassic Park, and then we've got the sequels there, and then we had the reboot, which was Jurassic World.
Yes. Right? Yeah. What'd you think of the movies? What's your opinion on the franchise? What do you got?
Yeah, so I
was saying his name was Trico.
Trico, okay. Isn't that Pokemon?
I don't know, but that's the big animal thing, and I swear he kept saying taco.
I mean, it looks like the way there's so many people are spelling it, it's like a Pokemon.
Nobody seems to know how to spell it.
Oh dear.
That's my point. It was taco.
Okay. It was taco. Triaco.
I had great tacos when I hung out with this guy in Texas, by the way.
They're fantastic. Well, you're missing out. There are even more taco places to go to now.
I want tacos.
It'll be good. You can barbecue in your tacos.
I'm going to do that.
And then we'll wrap it all in Domino's pizza.
No, we're not. Gross. Anyway, go ahead. Jurassic.
All right. Jurassic Park. The first two I liked a lot. I'm actually...
You like Lost World?
Going against a lot of folks, I love Jeff Goldblum. I love Jeff Goldblum.
You're still a monster.
I love Jeff Goldblum.
You're a monster.
So much.
I know you're right about that, but you are still a monster.
So much.
Anyway,
I loved watching Thor, the latest one, because Jeff Goldblum's in it. Like, yes.
I would love it if that was the movie's actual title, Thor, the latest one.
Yes.
Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
Anyway, so yeah, I know most folks didn't like the second one. It wasn't as good as the first one, but it had more Jeff Goldblum, so it was fine with me. Third one I hated. And then they had Jurassic, because there's only been 3, and then they had Jurassic World, right?
That is correct.
Which is, I guess, the 4th.
Jurassic
or the
World would be the 4th, but it's not. We'll talk. I'll get to that when I talk about it, but yeah, go for it.
Right. That one was okay to me, but I didn't like parts of it. It was like, riding, like the whole training velociraptors and then riding with them on a motorcycle, and then at the end they had this giant CG version of 2 dinosaurs fighting. Spoilers, by the way, if you haven't seen the movie. It wasn't really my thing. I don't really know. It just felt dull. It didn't really feel like it had anything special going for it, to me. And I'm confused because I haven't seen any previews for the next one. Are they trying to tie that in?
Oh, you're gonna like it.
I'm gonna like it.
You're gonna like it for a very specific reason.
Is Jeff Goldblum in it?
He is in it.
Oh yes! I love Jeff Goldblum.
That's not a spoiler. It's in the trailer. You just see him.
Oh my gosh, Jeff Goldblum makes anything better.
Yeah, he does.
It's like a really bad meal that you accidentally prepared, but you've got a Jeff Goldblum seasoning and you sprinkle it on top, and you're like, oh, this makes it so much better.
So here's my thing on the Jurassic series. Jurassic Park 1 is a legendary film. Like, it's essentially a perfect film. Jurassic Park 2 is unwatchable. I've ranted about it in some live stream at some point. Jeff Goldblum's the best part of that movie. I don't dispute that. But it is a terrible, unwatchable film with logic holes that you could drive a truck through. Like, it's so bad.
It's Jeff Goldblum.
It is Jeff Goldblum. The worst part of that whole movie to me is when they bring the T-Rex back to San Diego. And the problem is they're all on the dock. They're expecting this boat to show up. Okay.
Yeah.
And then they're like, sir, we have a situation. They're like, all right, what's the situation? He looks and sees the boat's coming, but it's coming a little too fast, which means it was supposed to be there in like 10 minutes from that point. But they're like, oh, it's going to be 10 minutes early. I guess it's just going to crash into us. That's what they figure out. So then you have to work backwards because you go, what you learn after that is that everyone on the ship is dead.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone's been presumably eaten by a dinosaur. There's a guy's wrist, like his hand is just on the mast or the helm. Sorry.
Yeah.
But the entire room is fine. All the crew is dead. The T-Rex is underground, locked up. So when you put that puzzle together, what you realize is the T-Rex didn't do any of that. And all of that only happened 10 minutes ago. So there was another dinosaur, presumably ate all of them, jumped off ship, was never acknowledged for any reason. Or the T-Rex did this and did it very, very cleanly and then locked himself up. Nothing about that makes sense. Crashes into the dock. They never acknowledge any of this. He goes off on the rampage. That's the part that completely broke me. But that movie
you've got points, but I mean, as a kid, I loved when the T-Rex is just running through downtown.
I couldn't handle it. So Jurassic
it's
Park
so good.
3, Jurassic Park 3, in my opinion, is not a good movie, but it knows what it is. It's like a dumb monster movie. It's more fun.
So bad.
It's bad.
I hated it.
Don't dispute
Jeff
that.
Goldblum wasn't in it.
He wasn't. Sam Neill was. But
It was awful. Who cares about him? Jeff Goldblum.
I'm just saying, I don't dispute that Jurassic Park 3 is bad. But if you got to give me one of the two, I'm going Jurassic Park 3 because at least it knew what it was. It was just a dumb monster movie for 90 minutes. It was also only 90 minutes as opposed to like 2.5 hours of
Of Jeff Goldblum.
It wasn't 2.5 hours of the gold.
But it was so good.
But then you get to Jurassic World, which the director of that movie claims that Jurassic Park 2 and 3 are canon because I think Universal made him say it. But when you watch that movie, there's no way that's possible. There's just no way. Like there's no way that's possible.
So what about it throws? Because I'm terrible at picking these things out when I watch movies. So break it down for me.
Jurassic Park 1, it ends with everybody not knowing. The world doesn't know that Jurassic Park exists. They don't know about the events of anything that occurred. And Jurassic Park 2 even conveys the message that they never knew that shit. That like Jeff Goldblum talks about it publicly and everybody thinks he's crazy. So that movie goes on to show that a T-Rex is real and holy shit, he was telling the truth, which it does a terrible job of illustrating because it's a terrible film. But it goes on to make that point. And then, of course, the whole world sees how dangerous these things are and the whole world agrees, like, leave that island alone. And then the third one really conveys it, like, the whole world has just decided, fuck that island, just leave it alone. Mm-hmm. So the idea that, like, a couple years later, somebody went and he's like, you know what, this is fine, round them all up, we'll just build an amusement park, it'll be really successful, is absurd. The only way that works is if they went back to the first island, nobody knew about it, they managed to handle it there, and then get it back up under construction without the whole world knowing.
What was the timeline for this? I've forgotten. Like, how far in the future is this supposedly taking place?
I think that Jurassic World takes place pretty much present day, where I think they take place pretty much when they were made.
Well, when was the first one made?
93.
Jurassic Park.
93.
93? So 20 years ago?
That's almost 30,
Ish.
actually. That's actually almost 30 years ago.
Wait, what?
Yeah, we're getting old, dude. It's like 25 years ago, yeah.
When did Jurassic World come out?
No, I'm talking about Jurassic Park.
Oh, yeah, that was 93.
Yeah, that's what I just said.
Yeah, 93 is not 30 years ago.
It's like 25.
That's not 30.
It's not 30.
You can't do roundup math.
I'm just using numbers. I can make other numbers up, too, if you want to hear them.
It's not 30.
Here, I'll make up another number. Jurassic Park 1.5. You want to see it? It's on this channel. You like how I brought that around? No, that's a real thing, by the way, guys. Jurassic Park 1.5. You look up on this channel. It was based on the Telltale game, Jurassic Park, the game. I edited it all down, made it into its own movie. I mean, I know I was the one who made it, but I swear Telltale's story was way better than any of the Jurassic Park sequels. So I highly recommend that if you actually want a decent Jurassic Park sequel. So
Michael, I'm going to interrupt you for a second.
Sure.
A guy named Michael Wolf said, Adam, the ship's crew were killed by raptors in the script, but they couldn't make the effects work for the movie and didn't have a workaround.
Exactly. That's ultimately what we see is nothing, so it doesn't work.
At least they had a plan. It just didn't happen.
Yeah, the plan doesn't make sense. I want to rant about that in a little bit. But
okay.
Jurassic World, ultimately, I walked away with it thinking it was kind of pointless. Like, it was a bad remake, essentially, of Jurassic Park 1. Like, I enjoyed it a little, but I thought it was dumb. I didn't really like it that much. Now, I will say I'm a little more excited for the next one, but it also looks like it's supposed to be the sequel to Jurassic Park we never got. It looks like a weird Lost World remake, but possibly better. And I kind of think that's where they're going with it. So I'm not that excited. Like, I'll see it, but I don't really care all that much. Yeah, that's kind of where I stand with that. Do you have any other thoughts on Jurassic anything?
No. I'm excited Jeff Goldblum will be the next one, though.
Yeah. Well, me too. But back to the point Michael made. Part of what made Lost World suck so bad was that Jurassic Park 1 is a book. And then they adapted it to a film, and that's the movie they made. That's what also everybody associated with Jurassic Park. People didn't actually read the book. Yep. And they went to Michael Crichton. They're like, it was a huge hit. We need another movie. He's like, I didn't write a second book. They're like, well, do it. And he's like, I don't even have a good idea for it. Like, this is all on record. Like, he didn't even want to make that book. So then when he decided, finally, they convinced him to do it, they told him, don't write a book based on the first book. Write a sequel to the movie. So you have the book, when you actually read the books back to back, the second book is even less logical because it just drops whole plot points and it repeats stuff that happened in the first book that they dropped.
Well, the what was Jeff Goldblum's character? Ian Malcolm
Ian
or whatever his
Malcolm.
name was. He dies in the first book, like at the very beginning, right?
He might have.
Like I think like him staying around in the film was entirely the film. I think he died early in the book, getting eaten by something.
I wouldn't put it past him. That's what he does. Jeff Goldblum.
I think that, or he just wasn't. He didn't have a very big role. It's one of the two. He didn't have a big role and he died, or he had a role and he still died.
I know Dennis Nedry had a very different storyline.
Was that the guy that
Wayne
was
Knight, Seinfeld, Newman.
the guy that was the lawyer that got eaten on the porta potty?
No. Wayne Knight, Seinfeld, Newman. He's the dude who like betrays him and steals the DNA and then.
Yeah. He has the can of shaving cream that has all that stuff in it.
That's actually the premise of Jurassic Park 1.5 is what happened to the shaving cream. Go check it out.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen part of that compilation you put together. It was pretty good.
You should watch it.
You should watch it.
You should watch it. Anyway,
Watch it.
I've seen it. I edited it. So Telltale sent me a thank you letter for that, by the way.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's much better than a takedown request.
Definitely. Same with the Back to the Future ones I did. They sent me a thank you letter for that too. Because when I posted those, everybody's like, "In before Content ID claim," and I was like, "Telltale said this was fine."
So let me ask you a question about those.
Sure.
What was the most challenging aspect of putting those together to you?
Oh, everything. Like those things were so brutally hard. I actually did a podcast about this, just about the Back to the Future ones, because they were just an awful experience to put together. Because you're talking about like Jurassic Park was like 12 hours of gameplay footage, and you have to play the game like 4 or 5 times to make sure you know everything that can happen, and then you have to construct what's going to work the best as a narrative and do it that way and get the most efficient footage for that purpose. And then after you have all that footage, you have to then cut out everything that will be 100% useless, like anything with maps on the screen or any sort of character objectives, because that's character breaking. That's not a movie if you have that shit. So you have to get rid of all that crap. So then you get down to those basic elements, and then you sit there and study the footage more and be like, okay, what can go? What entire scenes do I not need? And stuff like that, and then you start bringing it closer and closer and closer, and then you start fine-tuning and constructing whole scenes. And then when you do that, you sometimes have to get really creative to connect links between scenes, and you have to just try and make things as efficient and interesting as possible, because a game is going to do that very differently than a movie. A movie can't have just endless amounts of dialogue of just asking questions about like, hey, where are the dinosaurs? Well, how do they, how does that all work? And you just have to find ways to keep the action beats in there and keep the story flowing. And it was just fucking hell. And that's just the creative side. And then there was all the technical problems. I mean, I remember I edited that Jurassic Park movie so long ago, I would cut it on Windows XP.
No.
And then, but that computer wasn't powerful enough to export it, so I had to dump the whole project onto it, then a more advanced computer, and then have that dump it out. It was such a fucking nightmare. I should never have done it again, and then I did when I did the Back to the Future ones, which were even harder. But yeah, that's its own thing.
It's impressive though.
Thank you.
It's a lot of dedication.
Thank you.
Actually, so before we go on again, one quick thing. What was your motivation for doing those two?
I really wanted to see those stories as movies, and I knew no one else was going to put that much fucking nerd level of effort into it. No one was going to do that. And I'm like, I got a film, degree. I think I could do this. Fuck it. I'm doing this. I wanted to do it as a service to everybody. And thankfully, Telltale agreed with my actions. So you guys enjoy it. You guys, because of me, I'm not really taking credit, but because of me, you got Jurassic Park 1.5, you got Back to the Future 4 and 5 on this channel. Live it up.
Boom.
Thank you. We got a donation a while back from Alan Stoughton, who's once again who donated. He says, "I know game collecting is the feeling of accomplishment to you, and worth every dollar." No, it's not. But don't you worry about the fact that one day all of your discs will be dead from disc rot. It's inevitable. Nothing lasts forever. So here's the thing about disc rot. That it is inevitable, but if you take care of it, it's not going to happen in my lifetime. So I don't really give a shit.
There you go.
It's a very cold output, but to be honest, I don't fucking care. Like it's going to survive during my existence, because I don't live in a place that's like got horrible humidity. I don't keep the discs exposed to sunlight all day. I don't fucking touch the discs all the time. I keep them in cold, well controlled, dry areas. They're fine. I'm not worried about it. But I mean, I don't have any plans to have kids anytime soon. But like that would be a nice thing to give to them if that ever happens. But to be honest, I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
It's something to do in my lifetime that was entertaining and fun for me to enjoy on my time on this planet.
There you go.
Thank you, Alan. All right. Sorry, everybody. I know we kind of went away from the chat there for a bit. This was apparently a Jurassic Park stream. Yeah, Windows XP. Well, no, I cut it on XP originally, and it survived on the channel for a year when I actually did get a takedown, but it wasn't from Telltale. It was from some sound effects company who didn't like one of the random like jungle noises, which I pissed me off. It was a single sound effect, but I couldn't do anything about it. I filed a claim, I lost, and I had to take the video down. But it actually was kind of nice for me because when I did that, I kind of George Lucas'd the thing. I went back into it, and I realized I had exported it incorrectly on XP, or well, I had rendered it incorrectly on XP. So now that at the time I was using Windows 7, I could re-render it in a higher definition. And I could take out a couple of scenes where I was like, that I don't even know why I kept that in there. That didn't make sense. Clean up a couple of spots, make it a little faster, make it a little better. And that's the version that exists now. And then that's been fine for years. Back to the Future 4 and 5, I cut in 2015 entirely on Windows 7. That was a fucking pain in the ass. But if you're ever curious about it, there's an entire podcast on my channel about it. I got to be on the Back to the Future podcast because of that shit.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay, a couple of power questions here. Someone asked me what car do I drive. It's a Honda. Someone asked me if I'm into handhelds, do I like the Switch? Yes, I do. Someone asked me, and you, what was, oh, it scrolled away. Lost it. Next one then, consider the Nomad a console handheld hybrid. Nomad was the Sega thing, right?
Sega Nomad, portable Genesis.
I never owned one. But it feels just, I mean, it's a portable console. You can plug the games in, I guess. I mean,
it had the argument that he's making is that thing had video output, so you could connect it to a TV. You could even connect a second controller to it and play 2-player. But the argument I've always used against that is essentially that Sega did not design the Genesis to be a portable console. They gave you one retroactively. That's different. Nintendo set out to make it this way.
Right, developers are not including that in their calculations for, say, how big the text size would be of a game or whatever. Correct. So I'm sure it was really tiny.
It was.
Let's see. Oh, someone says Chip, Adam, and crumpled Bulls jersey. Dream Team is back. I did miss the crumpled Bull jersey.
Everybody loves the crumpled jersey. At this point, it's a character.
Does it have a name?
Derek, because it's signed.
Derek.
It's signed by Derek Rose.
Okay, there you go. Let's see. Other questions? There's some that I missed.
Oh, that happens. I apologize, guys. I can't answer all of them. We try, like I keep telling you guys, Super Chats and PayPals get, priority because it's a volunteer thing, but it's up to you. You can do it. But it's not a requirement, so I just answer whatever comes up. And then, obviously, we talk a lot, so we get distracted by questions.
All the time. I'm not seeing many questions when I'm scrolling up, though. It's just people, someone said Avatar sucks.
At the bottom. It's just easier.
What's my opinion of the Vita? I have a Vita. I haven't played in a long time. I think I've only played one game on it, even though I had a couple of games. And that game was Persona 4 Golden. And that was quite a lot of fun. I didn't finish it. I think I got distracted by work or something else, and I didn't actually have the time to finish it. I later got a PS TV. Remember those, Adam? Those came out?
I have one.
And I know that it had... because it had compatibility for some games. Now, could you hack it to have compatibility for more games or something?
Yes. Now, I did not do that. A buddy of mine named Zebular, if he's in here. He did that for me. And once you hack it, it plays like most things. And it also, I think it can use the PS4 controller's touch thing as the touchscreen.
At
least that's my understanding. To be honest with you, I haven't spent much time with it, but I've had it for a while.
Gotcha. Yeah, most of the games I played, or most, I only played one game. I don't remember Persona 4 Golden requiring the touch screen. Maybe it did, but anyway, I got that PS TV to be able to play a portable system on a TV because the hardest thing to me about portables is the battery dies. If it's rechargeable, you better hope you find a backup somewhere that will also not drain and die too quickly. Otherwise, you have to just be sitting somewhere you can plug it into an outlet, which kind of defeats part of the purpose of a portable system. This is interesting. I've actually found that I'm appreciating systems more that have just standard AA or AAA batteries instead of a rechargeable lithium ion. Because usually the lithium ions are they were built for that specific system, so either they're too expensive to find, or they've all died by this point, so you can't get one that will last that long. Whereas double and triple A's, you can just get rechargeable double and triple A's, charge those up, and those last forever now. You can just keep recharging them, and it's fantastic. So I actually like systems now. You like the old Game Boy, the old what was that thing called? The one made by the fighting company, fighting game company.
Neo Pocket.
Yeah, the Neo Geo Pocket. Those where you can just put in some batteries, just standard batteries. I actually like those a lot more because they still work fine, and I can just keep getting new batteries, especially the rechargeable ones.
I like your channel so much. I'm Brazilian. I love Brazilians. Brazilians are awesome. I know I got a surprisingly large following in Brazil, which I never understood. But I know you guys are much smarter than us. You guys all speak English down there, even though Portuguese is native down there. So I appreciate you guys are watching. Oh, this guy's, I brought this up in a live stream right below the Brazilian comment. You should read that. By
I don't know what that comment
Technician
is.
90. It's at the bottom of the screen.
Adam said not to ask for a selfie with the Facebook guy. Surely he makes an exception for Chip. Is there a pic of Chip with the Facebook guy?
He's talking about Mark Zuckerberg.
Oh.
Remember, you were like warning me, you're like, don't, if you see Mark Zuckerberg, don't fucking talk to him. Don't ask him for a selfie.
Yeah. No, there's not a selfie of me with him. I did try to go up and talk to him at one point. That did not work.
So he's seen the motherfucker. He's seen him. Oh
yeah, no, I've seen him in person a bunch of times. But well, he does a live Q&A session at the company every Friday, or used to do it. I think right now he's not. He's on leave or something. But he basically just answers questions every Friday. And so when I was in California, I just kind of sat in the front row, and he just walk up right in front of me, and it's like this far away, and just say like, "Yo, hey," he answer questions.
There you go, guys.
Pretty good.
Chip and Adam, do they still make Sega Genesis games as of 2017 in Brazil? I think so, but it's nothing like super quality. I know they still make Sega Master System games, but it's the same kind of thing where a lot of them aren't really quality. A lot of them focus more on just like hardware revisions, but as far as I know, yeah. And they still get random re-releases of stuff that we never got. Like this one is interesting, and I've actually been looking for it. So anybody in Brazil who can find this, let me know. There is, back when Sega did the Genesis 32X Sega CD combo, there were 5 games released that required all 3. So like Corpse Killer, it required the Sega CD, but it would use the power of the 32X to give you a bigger color palette. There was a 6th one, I think it was Surgical Strike, and it was only released in Brazil, and that happened this year.
Huh.
I know, right? And I would love to get my hands on that, but I don't see that happening anytime soon.
I wonder how many copies of that were made.
I don't know, man. But that's something I'd love to find. That's like, as far as I know, the only game out of Brazil that I'm just like, I fucking really want that.
Yeah.
It's a useless game. I'm not even sure I could play it with region coding, but I would fucking want it because it's just cool. So to go to the collecting thing, I like weird shit too.
Who made that? Do you know who made that game?
Digital Pictures made the game. I don't know who in Brazil programmed it to and decided to distribute it, but it's a thing. Yeah, see, people are saying the ISO guy. I don't want the fucking ISO. I want to own that shit. I don't need to play Surgical Strike 32X. I don't need to play it. I need to own it because it's fucking cool.
That's the collection aspect versus the actual playing aspect.
Like, I'm never going to play Surgical Strike. That's not a game I give a shit about playing. There is a difference. Like, I love playing good games, but I like collecting fucked up weird shit.
Let's see. Brian asked, how long do you think before Nintendo releases a Breath of the Wild Definitive Edition for the Switch? What does he mean by Definitive Edition? Just one that includes the DLC with it?
I actually would be surprised if they did that.
I don't know why
Nintendo
they would do that.
Isn't... Nintendo. What he means is like when you release like they did Tomb Raider on the 7th gen consoles, 360, PS3, then re-released it for the Xbox One and PS4 with like more enhanced graphics and capabilities and stuff. That's a definitive edition.
They already did that though.
Not with Breath of the Wild. I mean, you could argue the Switch version is, but apparently the Wii U version has certain advantages because it was made for the Wii U in mind. I don't think you're going to see that unless Nintendo does it on their next platform. Kind of like they did with the HD remasters of Wind Waker and stuff like that for the Wii U. I don't see them doing that.
Artie McFly, hello from the future. Chip and Adam, will we ever see a proper quality fan-made HDMI mod or box accessory for the Super Nintendo and or Sega Saturn?
It's totally possible. The way I do that currently is I use RGB output and into a FrameMeister, which is essentially that concept but on crack. But you're talking about just a little adapter. It could be done. It's about demand and it's about cost. That's what it's all about. But I could see it being made. Yeah, Super Nintendo is much more likely, but I could definitely see it being made. The Super Nintendo one would be advantageous because, in theory, it would work on any RGB modded N64, and it would work on any PAL GameCube, which would give it a little bit more value. But yeah, I could see that happening, but I don't. As far as I know, nobody's actually working on that.
Thoughts on EverDrives or flashcards? Are they as bad as emulation?
They are not emulators. In fact,
they're simply better.
Yeah, they're much better. Well, depending on your perspective, I like everything to be on real hardware, and that's essentially what EverDrives are. I don't know about I can't speak for all flashcards, but EverDrive lines specifically by Crix, those things are high quality. I've actually done reviews of a bunch of them on this channel. The way they work, they don't emulate anything. I mean, every game cartridge from back in the day is essentially a single ROM on a chip. No pun intended there, buddy. That goes into the console, and the console just plays it. The way that the EverDrive works is it essentially just has a rewritable chip, so you can just tell it. The SD card will store the game, and then it will just write onto that chip, and then the console doesn't know any different, and it's exactly the same thing. It's not emulated, and that's great. And that gives you all sorts of additional benefits, like leaked games that never got physical releases. You can try them that way and stuff. It doesn't have the bugs that emulation has, but then again, it doesn't have the advantages that emulation can have as well.
Yeah, I remember I still have, it was I guess equivalent to the EverDrive flashcard, but it's for the Neo Geo Pocket, called the Flashmaster, within all A's.
I didn't know there was one for the Neo Geo Pocket. That's cool.
Yeah, the guy made a couple of them, and it was nice because there was a version. So I got a kick of Neo Geo Pocket games at one point, or kick into playing them. And there was a collectible card game, kind of like the Pokemon trading card game, but it was with Capcom characters, I think. And you could go around battling folks with the Capcom card game or something like that. And so they had one version that was translated into English, and it was kind of short. And there's a second version that was never translated into English, but the same guy that made the Flashmaster, I think he ported that or translated it into English or whatever, and so you could get the ROM of that to play. But the nice thing is you could actually put it on the Flashmaster, which could only have one game loaded at a time, I think. So it wasn't like a traditional EverDrive or whatever. You could have like all the games in an SD card. It was basically you literally flashed the cart. It was a flashable cartridge, and that's when I wanted to play. I just haven't actually done it yet. I haven't put it on there. But yeah, now it's kind of, I've got two of them actually. The guy still sells them. I still get emails occasionally about him having more of them, but the process he had to go about doing it seemed like it was pretty tedious. I think he had to go find appropriate connectors for the cartridges or something to be able to get them hooked up. And I think he hand soldered every single one of them too.
Yeah, a lot of those little projects are just made by like one guy on his spare time, and so some of that stuff can end up being like really rare or really hard to get. There's not too many people that do mass productions of those things, and when they do, they're usually like Chinese companies, and they end up being crap. So it's a lot of those things people complain, oh, they're expensive, I don't want to pay that much, whatever. You got to understand, like, you're getting quality for that price. If you get the cheap one, often it sucks. I've reviewed enough of those type of flashcards to know. Chip just posted a link for you guys. Flashmaster. Watch them sell out in 2 seconds.
he's got other hardware too. I think he's got like a Link Master, which is, I can't remember what that is, cart linking, or I can't remember. He had some other stuff, but that site's dedicated towards that specific thing. It's pretty neat. If you were going to get a Neo Geo Pocket and you want to play some of the harder to find games without having to go buy them, of course, you could just get the ROM for it and put it on that. And it's like you're playing it on the system anyway. It's the exact same, actually, without the label and the cart being the same.
Nice.
So,
you want to pick again?
Ooh, all right. Let's see. There's another question I was going to read off, and I forgot what it was, but it was up a little bit. It was, who's better, Mario Kart, Chip or Adam? Have you ever played Mario Kart?
Many times. I've played
many times.
Oh yeah.
Which one is your favorite?
64, probably. Depends on the day you ask me. Sometimes it's 64, sometimes it's 8. I
was a really big fan of Double Dash.
Double Dash is good. Double Dash is good.
That's the one I played with my friends growing up quite a lot. There's something about the level design. I just like the level design of that one quite a lot. Although the 64, I loved the battle level, which you were on the giant skyscraper-like blocks. Mm-hmm. That was a huge level. Do you remember that one?
Yeah.
I mean, there's literally these giant towers of blocks. You can just go up them. But it was huge, and I played it. I played it maybe a couple of months ago with some friends, and I forgot how big it was. I mean, it dwarfs modern battle levels, at least. I mean, maybe not whole racing levels, but in terms of battle levels, it's much bigger than a lot of them. And I'm just like, how? How have they not had a giant battle level again? Do they not like these? I mean, it was a lot of fun. But
all right then. I never really did much with the battle stuff. I do remember playing 64, and I wanted to explore it a little bit. So do you remember there's a level? I think it's like the Toadstool Pike, tournament or whatever. They remade it in 8. Anyway, it's the one where you can see the castle from Super Mario 64.
oh yeah, okay.
If you actually, after you get off that big jump and you land in front of it, you're supposed to veer off to the left and keep racing. You can actually stop and drive over to the castle.
Oh, okay.
And you can kind of explore that area. There's nothing really to see there, but you can do it. And I remember doing that thinking, this is fucking cool. It's like 2 games in the same game. This is so crazy.
Yeah. The one I always liked was the...
That was like 98 me, so it was like 20 years ago, but that was cool.
Amazing.
God, that 64...
20 years ago.
No, the 64 came out in 96, dude.
Oh.
96. 96.
What?
21 years ago.
Oh
almost
my gosh.
22.
Oh, that... Okay, that kind of blew my mind slightly. Yep. I was going to say that I enjoyed for the 64 the level that has the train going through. It's like a desert level or something. Yeah. I basically, as a kid, I'm like, well, I just want to see where that train track goes. That's going on the train track.
Yeah,
and the fact that you can just go down the train track. I mean, you look at modern racing games, even the Mario Karts, they don't really have secret passageways as much or things you can really deviate really far from the course anymore, do they?
No, I'm sure they do, but that one I remember being interesting. The N64 was weird like that. I always kind of jokingly called it the Nintendo Glitchy 4 because you could just jump in areas you weren't really meant to, and that was one of them. Like, I don't think they ever intended for you to be able to go in there, but you just kind of found your way in there. The N64 was kind of notorious for stuff like that, and that was fun. All
right, here's 2 different questions, and sure. I'll hand it over to you after a while too. There's one by Martin Lindgren. What is the most useless console? I don't know what he...
Neo Geo X.
I think actually, yeah, it's right behind me.
Go get it.
I can pull this over and show it.
Do it. I will rant while you do it.
Okay, rant about it.
The Neo Geo X was released a couple of years ago. It was meant to be like a portable... it was a good concept. The problem is that the company that made it like crap to the point where SNK even sued them over the poor quality of the platform. So the concept was nice, but it was basically an all-digital piece of junk that didn't really work very well. A lot of people say it works better after the update, but still, ultimately, it's just a little portable emulator that didn't really run that well, and I fucking hated it for that reason. And they were like talking about, oh, we're gonna have these physical releases that'll come out for it, and as far as I know, they only ever had one.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird too, because this one physical box, which did I ever open?
Now, granted, you've done a lot more with it than I did with mine. I reviewed mine, and I just decided I hated it, and I really touched it. Like, the joke I always make about that thing is that's the only console I've ever regretted buying, and I own a Tiger R-Zone.
All right, let's do a live stream unboxing. I opened this once, but here we go. All right, so I'm trying to get this lined up because I can't actually see myself right now.
I'm bringing you guys exclusive content. Keep it closer to your chest. Closer to your chest.
Closer to chest. Yep. All right, here we go. All right, so first of all, here's the front cover. It has a list of the different games, such as World Heroes 2.
Yeah, keep it more to closer to your face, the direction your face is. Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
there we go. So it's kind of blurry.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
All right, well, the back has actual pictures of the games, which is kind of neat. So let's go inside. All right, so inside, this is the only physical game I think they released, which is basically another pack. It has some cable in it, which I think is a transfer cable. I don't actually. What is the point of this? What's the point of this cable? Is it a headphone jack?
You're the one who has it, buddy.
What is this supposed to mean?
It means X is crap. Don't buy it.
Notice, when the upgrade has been completed, please switch the rocket cable from X to C position. What?
I don't know.
Rocket
this shit.
Rocket cable? I don't. Okay, well, that's a rocket cable. You've got a giant manual, which, to its credit, is color and has games in it, or at least, well, that's a blank page. They did a good job there.
Nah.
Yeah.
Every other page is blank.
Wow.
They just double the length of it on that basis.
Hold on, no, there we go. So there's something. At least a color manual, Kind of. I mean, I think it just talks about the game. It doesn't actually tell you much else. Actually, why did they print this? Oh, wait, no, it's stickers.
Ah.
These are all stickers. That's what these are. So you can actually, you have stickers of each of these things. If you want a sticker, there you go. And then you have the actual, what's interesting, in the case itself, you've got a place to put the console, which I'll pull out in a minute to show. But here is the cart. That is the collection of games. Yeah, the Mega Pack. Which, the interesting thing about this, I've never put it in the system, is that it actually includes the firmware update on it, which apparently fixes a lot of the emulation problems.
I'm gonna bring, next time I see you, I'm bringing that piece of shit down there, and we're gonna pop that card in, and I'm gonna at least update to this magical update.
We'll do a live stream of that one too.
Yeah,
we can see firsthand how that works.
I can't.
All right, so there's that. Let me actually pull up the system and show that part too. We're gonna do this whole live stream unboxing.
While he's doing that, I gotta say, I did a review of the Neo SD, which is a flashcard, bringing back around to flashcards, for the Neo Geo AES. That thing is fucking perfect. Perfect. Now, you have to own an AES, but if you do, it's amazing. That's how you should be
pretty big disclaimer, man.
I know, and I made that case in the video. It's an expensive endeavor, I'm aware. But if you have that setup, this is how ridiculous that setup is. If you have the Neo Geo AES, you have the Neo SD, you have the RGB SCART cables, and you have a FrameMeister, oh, you're sitting pretty. It's amazing. Or you get the Neo Geo X piece of shit. Go ahead.
Real quick, before I show this, Almada Warrior says, or asks, do you have a Gizmondo?
I was gonna bring up that question. Chip, I don't know, do I?
You should.
I do. He gave me one.
Yeah, that one that still doesn't work, right?
No, it didn't have a battery.
That's right.
Yeah, we never got around to it.
That's okay. One day.
I do not have an NVIDIA Shield. I don't buy digital-only consoles. They're fucking stupid.
By the way, I can't see the chat right now, so I'm just kind of showing this stuff. But I do have a Shield somewhere. So here's the actual console, and this is not the console itself. This is just the dock.
This is the equivalent of a Switch dock.
Yeah, it's the Switch dock, and inside you put the console. Let's see, how can we? Yeah, there we go. It kind of like plugs into this weird combination of a headphone jack and a power cable and HDMI. Pop it out here. All right, so here's the physical unit. You know, it's not too bad looking. It feels quality. It actually has the joystick here is like the Neo Geo Pocket. It has the little micro switches underneath that give it the clicking sound, if you can hear that, which is pretty neat. But yeah, inside, I know someone took it apart and they found basically an SD card that has the games on it just sitting there, I think.
Of course, it's all emulated garbage.
Yeah. And then, of course, you have the joystick, which is just a USB cable, which unfortunately is also wired in. So if this cable dies, you lose the joystick, which is a cheap way to go.
One thing that's cool about that controller, I'll give that controller credit, it's compatible with other devices. Like, you can plug that into a PS3 and it'll work.
Oh, that is nice. And then lastly, just for the conclusion, here's where it plugs in. It's got a headphone jack, an HDMI cable, and I think a USB micro or something in there. So there you go. That's the whole system.
So I see a lot of people talking about how they'd love to get an AES. Here's my little spoiler for you on the AES. If you want one, find someone in Japan. AESs over there aren't cheap, but they are much cheaper than they are here. Like, much cheaper. Like, you're talking console 150, 200, as opposed to like 500, 600. They're region free too.
Ooh, fancy. I'm trying to read through these comments again, but they went away.
That happens.
Yeah. Okay, so that was one thing, which was sitting in the corner somewhere of my office, my fancy office. Let's see. I also have this. Let's see. There you go. Check it out.
Isn't that the thing Shane just reviewed and called a piece of crap?
The Audio Boy?
Yeah.
Yep, it is a piece of crap.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, I got one of these on I think I backed on Kickstarter. Yeah, it even says Kickstarter edition. This is, well, it says 1 of 10,000. I'm assuming that means one of the 10,000, not the first of 10,000.
Yeah.
But it kind of had potential. It's Arduino backed. They have a lot of peripherals you can plug into. The code's pretty easy for children to kind of jump into. But they had, when I first got it, their documentation was so bad. They basically had zero documentation. It was just download this zip file that has some kind of sample code we have in there, and go. And no proper place to host the games. I think they just had a forum that you were hosting the games on. You just kind of post like, here's a game kind of thing. Their sample code wasn't even probably running at times. It was a mess. And I think they tried to clean up the site a little bit, but overall, it was an example of hardware, okay. I mean, for what it is, but the presentation and actually getting anyone on board to make anything for it was just awful. To be honest, you'll find much better and more enjoyable games on TI calculators, which I actually am a big fan of. Especially you can get a TI-83 Plus or TI-84 Plus with color. Did you know you can get color calculators now?
I believe it. It is the future.
It's amazing because that way you play these games and they can use color now instead of using monochrome.
God, it's almost like it's 1998.
It blows my mind.
It's like Game Boy Color.
Oh snap! Oh, people
to you
made
young
Pokemon
kids
clones
out there, our games didn't have color back in the day.
Oh man, I remember when I got a Game Boy. I had the Game Boy Pocket, and then I got a Game Boy Color, and I think I had Pokemon Blue or something, and it was just entirely blue, blue shading. Because that was how they did the color there. Mm-hmm. My mind was blown by that. Anyway, that was a tangent.
It's fine. It happens
all the time.
We tend to do that. You can take up another question.
Well, this is one that will probably be pretty short. Chip, Adam, if you had to choose your favorite sports game, what would it be?
This is a weird one for me. The one I sunk the most time into, Space Jam on the PlayStation.
Interesting.
Why?
Why?
In the day, well, because back in the day, all right, obviously I'm from Chicago. Michael Jordan, big thing here. But he, for the most part, wouldn't allow himself to be in video games back then. Space Jam was an exception because it was like his movie and he was promoting it and all that shit. So that was the only game where you could like play as Michael Jordan. So I was like, fuck, that's awesome. And then I just played the hell out of it because I was at the right age where it didn't matter that the game sucked. It was still like I was just going to play it for hours anyway. I've never been a real sports game guy. The only other sports game I even came close to playing anywhere near that much time was like World Series Baseball 2K2 for the Dreamcast. Why? I don't fucking know.
I'm trying to remember what I played. I think it was called College Slam for the Super Nintendo.
Yeah, I have that for the Saturn.
That was fun. So I played that one a bit. And then I actually played a bit of the Virtua Tennis.
Does that count?
Virtua Tennis?
Yeah, I'm just curious what the lines are. Because, I mean, I guess it does if Space Jam counts.
It's a sports game.
Yeah, that's true.
Hey.
I don't know.
Sports game.
Sure.
It's not just football, man.
I'm always thinking like EA Madden garbage, yeah.
No, there are other sports games. Virtua Tennis was fun.
Yeah, well, it was a Sega property.
It was fun.
Yeah. It was an arcade game back in the day.
Yeah, I remember when I was in Las Vegas quite often, as a kid growing up, I would basically go to this arcade that had a couch, and they had joysticks built into the arms of the couch. And so you'd have two people just sit on opposite sides of the couch with these joysticks and play on this, what was at the time a big screen, it's maybe 32 inches, I don't know what it was, TV, or maybe it's a projector, I can't remember now, maybe they had a projector at one point and switched to a TV, I don't remember, but it was a lot of fun. But I just remember these old guys would come in and kick my butt in tennis. Also, I had no idea who any of the people were because they were old tennis players. Cause it was from the 90s, whatever version it was, I think.
Yeah, it would have been
98. But a lot of fun.
Go on. Don't stare at the camera. It just looks weird.
Well, I'm trying to read the.
You got to move the monitor. You got to move. Yeah, there you go. You got to go back to that.
I'm not looking away from
that third screen, dude. Otherwise, it just looks weird.
For folks that don't know, I have 4 monitors, so I just kind of move this thing around to one of the 4. Let's see. I don't know. Is there a question that you've seen that you want to
No, man,
discuss?
I'm letting you handle questions. This is the Chip show.
Okay, well, here's one. Someone was asking groundbreaking game of 2017, and someone else before them was just asking for favorite or top game of 2017. Oh. And I'd rather kind of just do a blend. I mean, was there one that you thought particularly stood out, and then alongside that, was there one that you just enjoyed overall that you played or whatever?
Super Mario Odyssey.
Favorite game or groundbreaking or both?
I don't know how groundbreaking it is, but that would probably be my answer regardless. I'd have to really think about that one. But I think my kick, my initial like instinct reaction is Super Mario Odyssey.
I own it. I've not played it yet. I've just played Doom on the Switch. That's the most recent game other than Battle for West North. I'd say, Doom was pretty impressive. It's not a game that came out in 2017, though. The port for the Switch came out. I'd assume that if I had played the Mario game, then I'd probably say the Mario game. Let's see. Have I played a game that came out this year? Because I played Cave Story Plus, but that came out years ago. The
That's a good
original
fucking
Cave
game
Story.
too.
It's a good. I realized I made a mistake in the game. I won't say what it is because I don't want to spoil it. Where now I can't I can't get the ending I wanted to get it, and I'm like, darn it, I missed that. Um, but or it was a certain gun, or I can't remember what it was. But I got something I wasn't supposed to have gotten, or did something early I wasn't supposed to have done.
Hmm. I also played
And
Sonic Mania. That shit's good.
I haven't played a Sonic game, well, since we played Sonic Adventure on the
Sonic
Dreamcast.
Mania is legit worth playing, definitely. And it kills me that's a digital only title. Like I want a physical copy of that, fucking hard.
Tennis, it was spelled wrong, and yes, it is a sport. I played it growing up, all the way through high school and a bit of college. It's a good sport.
Adam, just noticed your stream title's incorrect. You put 22nd. It's the 23rd. Not here. Here it's still the 22nd. I'm assuming you're in Europe.
Hmm. Let's see.
Yeah, here it's 8 p.m. on the 22nd.
Yeah, it's nice. What's one thing you look forward to in 2018?
Shenmue 3.
Is it actually coming out in 2018?
That's the plan. If we're talking games, the first big game I'm really looking forward to, Far Cry 5. I actually just last week I was in San Francisco for a Far Cry 5 event. That game is fun. That game is fucking fun. I'm looking like I only got to play it for like an hour and a half there, but man was it cool. I'm looking forward to sinking some serious hours into that. That'll be my first
Never
big
played
game.
a Far Cry game ever.
My sin is that I have never played Far Cry 3. Everyone says like that's the one to play. I've played Far Cry 4 and Far Cry Primal all the way through. Really enjoyed them. I should go play Far Cry 3. I've just never done it. Far Cry 5 though is like yes. Highly recommend Far Cry 5. What I've played of it anyway.
Remy, I'll play Mario Odyssey eventually. I just honestly have been so busy. I mean, I have been so busy that I've had zero time to do anything else. I'm actually surprised I had time to do this today.
Yeah. What the hell, man?
I don't know. But you've been free. I mean,
that's weird for me.
You're Mr. Always flying somewhere.
Here's the thing. I thought I was going to be gone for the majority of this month for different things, but I got out of most of it. And so I ended up basically creating a whole ton of content in expectation of that reality. So then the content is sitting there waiting to go. I'm like, well, actually, I don't have to do it. Sweet. I can go and actually enjoy something. So I've been like watching some movies lately. I've been trying to catch up on movies that were nominated for Best Picture like 4 years ago and stuff like that. Just saw Silver Linings Playbook and American Hustle and Zootopia. And I was like, great movies. I should catch up on some games too. It's where I was able to sink some time into Super Mario Odyssey and Cave Story, Sonic Mania. It's been nice, but that's all going to go away really soon.
Someone's asking thoughts on the Disney-Fox merger or acquisition, or whatever it was.
So I actually, on my birthday stream, I know you were in that. Chip donated a fucking $100 super chat in that stream. You guys should give him a round of applause. That's a hero right there.
Oh yeah, I forgot I did that.
Yeah, he did. He was like, I think it was just yesterday. You're like, yeah, man, I forgot to wish you a happy birthday. I'm like, you were in the stream and gave me a gift, and you forgot it. Anyway,
yeah, I forgot.
In that stream, I said, hey guys, pay attention to the news because Disney and Fox might merge tonight. And if they do, it'll probably be around a $60 billion deal. I had people be like, no, that's not going to happen. Now, it didn't happen that night, but a couple days later, it was like, oh, $52 billion deal, $52.4 billion deal. Disney buys up Fox Media, their film and television division. It was like, told you. And my reaction to that whole thing is the child in me is very happy. All my Marvel characters are in one place. All my Star Wars is in one place. That's so fucking cool. Blah, blah, blah. The adult in me is like, ugh. The United States has 6 media corporations. We just dropped down to 5. For all, like, 98% of media, that's bad. That's very monopolistic. So the adult in me is scared. The child in me is happy. That's kind of my reaction to it.
Yeah, I guess for me, it's the child in me is happy. The adult in me doesn't care because I don't really follow any media at this point. I don't know. I don't. I'm so oblivious.
For social media, Facebook.
I just mean I follow it.
It's true.
Let's see. Someone asked Adam, what did you spend those $100 on?
Well, I don't have it yet because it goes to YouTube first, and then they give me my cut of it.
Huh.
Yeah. That's why if you're gonna donate,
Takes a
do
while.
PayPal because they don't take anything.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'll do that next time. Yes.
I'm not complaining. I'm just acknowledging. I'm just telling you. No, I don't get that money until like 2 months from now, and then at that point, I don't know, pay bills. Like,
Yay.
yeah.
Adulthood.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of how that works.
Hey, at least one of the bills you're paying is a much better internet service than you used to have.
Yeah, it's cheaper too, which is fucked up.
Yeah, you have awesome internet.
I have awesome internet now. It's great.
My internet dropped in quality when I moved to a house.
Yeah, my the place where I'm living, we had this long ass lease. Or the complex I'm in had this lease with AT&T, and AT&T violated the lease. So the complex sued them and won. And as a result, we got to switch providers, and AT&T had to pay a large part of the provider. So we actually now are paying less for our internet, and we went from 45 down was the maximum. Most people were doing like 18 down. And now I've got 1 gigabit down, and I'm paying $30 less per month.
It's absurd. It's so absurd.
The speed is 1 gigabit down and 25 megabit up.
I keep forgetting how good that is. But...
It's pretty good.
Oh, so 2 things. These are just things, but they'll be interesting. I got this. I can't tell if it's in the shot or not.
Closer to your face. Other way. Yep, there you go.
There you go. It's a Chromebook. I never had one before. And I got a couple for some Christmas presents for parents and stuff. And I thought I'd give one of these a try because I have an old MacBook Air that's dying. And it's not too bad. I mean, I wouldn't do development on this unless I'm going to do remote development. But it actually has a stylus, and I was doing some drawing on it. It's kind of nice. So there you go. There's one review. It's a Samsung Chromebook Pro. The other thing I did is I remembered a game I actually played recently that wasn't on the Switch. It's because I got an Oculus Rift a while ago, back in June or July. No, July. But I had never hooked it up because at the time I was living in my apartment. Now, when I moved to my house, I have a room I can use to set up the VR equipment. And so I did it. I still keep punching my ceiling fan because there's no way to know where things are above you. But despite punching the ceiling fan, I was playing a game called Robo Recall. And essentially, you're just some person that's going to fight robots that are going amok in a city. And you have guns you can grab from your back, from your sides, and you shoot them. You can also grab robots and tear them apart and stuff. And it's a lot of fun. I haven't played it for a long period of time, but I don't think you're supposed to play most VR games for that long of a period of time. I think I just played for maybe 30 minutes at most at a time. And it's a lot of fun. I actually have enjoyed it a lot. It reminds me, you're going to hate this part. It reminds me of the Wii motion controls.
He said the word I cannot hear.
Motion controls are 2 words.
Wii.
That's 1 word. Okay.
Sorry, Remy.
Anyway.
Yes, French. Haha, jokes. Deep. Never mind.
But anyway, it was playing Resident Evil 4. Resident Evil 4 for the Wii. Because I actually liked being able to use the Wiimote to point and shoot. It reminiscent kind of light guns in a way. And that was a lot of fun. So being able to do that with these controllers, these touch controllers, like kind of point and shoot, that was a lot of fun. So there you go. There's another game I played.
All right. Yeah, you want to pick a question? Should I do it? What you got?
You pick a question because I don't have any.
Shouldn't American laws prevent Disney from purchasing Fox? So it's not actually on paper they've done the deal. It doesn't officially go through until late next year. And I think that there is actually an argument to be made that Congress might block that deal. But to be honest, our political system, if this last week was any indicator, is horrifically corrupted. And I can't imagine they'll actually stop that. It does theoretically violate antitrust laws, but I'm sure our lawyer would argue that it doesn't create a supermajority yet, which is illegal monopoly. My guess is that the whole thing goes through. But technically that is a possibility. Yes, but I would assume it doesn't happen. Now, to their credit, I think it was WB and Time Warner. It was Time Warner and Comcast. Who was it? There's Time Warner and somebody's trying to merge right now.
Oh well, Time Warner already merged.
No, not Time. So it's Warner and AT&T, right? Time Warner and AT&T want to merge.
No, Time Warner already merged with Charter. That's why there's Spectrum, right?
No, I'm pretty sure it's Time Warner wants to merge with AT&T. I could be wrong. Somebody double check on that. But I think
I could have sworn Time Warner was the one that merged because I had Time Warner. No. Wait, Time Warner was the internet provider too, right?
Time Warner, I think, was its own, but I think Time Warner is also literally Warner Brothers, like the film company, like wants to merge with AT&T, and I think that is actually is being blocked currently and may actually fall through. So it is certainly possible, but I do think that Disney's lawyers probably knew that would be happening. I mean, Disney's lawyers are the people who have kept Mickey Mouse out of the public domain like forever. If you guys don't know how public domain laws work, Mickey Mouse should have been a public domain character like in the 1980s. Like he should have been something anybody could just use at any point, but they keep coming up with ways to extend Disney's ownership of that character, which unfortunately then applies to all characters after that.
Yeah, so you're right. It was Time Warner is trying to be bought or something by AT&T. Now I'm trying to look up Spectrum though.
I don't know about that.
Okay, so Spectrum was Charter Communications and Time Warner Cable. Wait. Are they different? Time Warner and Time Warner Cable?
I'm sure that's a division of theirs. Because Time Warner is Time the magazine and Warner Brothers. They merged along with AOL at one point.
Let's see. Spectrum is a brand of Charter Communications used to market consumer cable, blah, 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 formerly provided by Time Warner Cable.
So here's an example.
Charter Communications acquired in May 2016.
Apparently Sprint and T-Mobile tried to merge at one point, but that got blocked. So mergers do get blocked from time to time. Now, some people think that might happen with Fox and Disney, but I'm kind of guessing that one goes through. We'll see. Probably because Fox will retain its like news entity. That I heard would actually be the thing that would have killed it. Is that Disney owns ABC, which has its own news program. If they had acquired Fox, which is politically on the other side of the spectrum, although I'd call ABC more in the middle than left wing. Not that this is a political point, but that I heard because of those conflict of interests, if they had acquired the Fox News division, that would have been a block. But since they're only buying the media and entertainment division, that's not really an issue, supposedly. We will see.
Seeing all these people mention AOL reminds me that AIM shut down earlier this week, I think.
AIM shut down, yeah.
Now, they weren't always syncing up your chat messages to their service in the back end, were they? I think originally they just stored it on your computer.
What, your chat?
Yeah.
I honestly don't know. I don't remember how their system worked. I haven't used it in like a decade.
Yeah, well, it's because they had you could download your conversations for history if you wanted to, which I forgot to do. But I was thinking about it, like I don't know if they had having my conversations because I bet you all of mine were just being saved to
chat logs. That's right. They did have chat logs. I remember that.
Yeah,
but I didn't even know you could go in and get them. Why would I? Like it's conversations with people I haven't talked to in like 10 years. Like I don't care.
It's been a blast from the past, man. Was it even 10? It was longer than 10 years.
No,
wasn't
I'm saying
it?
that was like the last time I used it.
Okay.
What killed AIM for me was you guys, Facebook.
Hey,
I got my notification like the other day that I had joined Facebook like 10 years ago. So I'm like, oh, all right, there you go.
Hey, you and me both.
Yeah, we got a super chat. We got a super chat from Randall Kornick who says, Horizon PS4, how did they pull off the graphics? I'm assuming it's Horizon Zero Dawn. My sarcastic answer is computers. That's what they did. I'm not a programmer, so it's not like the greatest question for me, unfortunately. So I don't talented development team. I wasn't in those meetings. I mean, Chip, I think you know more about programming than I do. Do you?
I mean, I've never seen the game, so I don't know. I'm assuming that means there are good graphics.
I know that game was enhanced on PS4 Pro, and it was one of the ones they used to push PS4 Pro. So they probably put a lot of extra work into that. But to give you like specifics, sorry, dude, I'm not the right person for that. I'm honestly not sure. What
was setting the PS4 Pro apart from the just a standard Xbox One?
I assume you mean the standard PS4.
Or that too.
It was more capable. It had better. Ultimately, it just had better graphical capabilities and supported higher resolutions. It was a more powerful machine. It's like a PS4.5. At least that's the logic. It's kind of the same with Xbox One X, except Xbox One X is vastly more capable than the base Xbox One. Which people keep asking, am I going to buy it? I'd like to eventually.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of how they pull it off, a lot of tricks to get the performance they need. I mean, they made sacrifices somewhere, and they managed to optimize other places. I mean, it's basically, how do you optimize this particular rendering? Or maybe they had to remove how many objects could be on the screen, or maybe they had to have pop in certain places where they didn't before, or something. I mean, there are always trade-offs to get it to work on systems. Now, granted, the PS4 Pro apparently is a little more powerful, so they had a little bit more to work with, but usually it's just enough time to find some optimizations, and then depending on how they design the game, maybe they could reuse a lot of those optimizations.
There you go. Pick some. What you got?
A Game Boy. Someone says they're going to buy a Game Boy player for their GameCube.
I have a few of those.
PAL region those, so will a US or Japanese startup disc work?
It will work if you use like Action Replay first, because the console itself is not region free. So you can use Action Replay or some other boot disc to get the Game Boy player disc to work. Then it will. The hardware is not region locked. It's the software.
Was there someone making some sort of a fan making some hardware that was going to be an alternative to the Game Boy player?
I vaguely recall hearing about that at some point, but I couldn't tell you for sure.
That's what I really want. I just want to be able to plug in Game Boy games to be able to be played on a TV. I mean, a lot of times what I find is if the handheld itself does not have standard, we already went over this with the AA and AAA batteries, I like having it be on the TV anyway, and just being able to press a button or something and have it turn on.
Well, okay, so I kind of have the ultimate setup for that. I have a HDMI modded GameCube with the Game Boy player. If you just keep the Game Boy player software in there, you can just put any Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance game in there. It'll just boot that in HD.
I just hate that I was hoping when they had this add-on that was letting you play Game Boy games, that was it. You just put that on.
That would have made it a lot nicer.
Yeah, but having to have this disc.
Yeah, the disc is the killer. The disc is what makes that thing hard to get. In fact, that's like a lot of people say that's like one of the best reasons to pirate or mod a GameCube for piracy is to be able to burn that particular disc.
Mm-hmm. So I own the disc, but then it's like, okay, if the disc reader burns out,
yeah,
then
but
it's
GameCubes
like, okay.
themselves are worthless. Like you can, I got a bunch of those damn things. Like they're so easy to get just the console. Like yeah. You'll see in some of these videos I've done. In fact, I already did one. My Super Potato video from Tokyo that came out already. Like I'm there and they have a giant wall of GameCubes. They're like, you can't get rid of the damn things. And that's just there. Like I see that in stores here too. Like GameCubes themselves are worthless. It's all the accessories and stuff. So if you burn out a laser on a GameCube, who gives a shit? Just go and get another one. They're like $5.
For now they are. I mean, maybe one day they won't be.
Maybe one day, but right now we live here.
So here's a question for you, Adam.
Okay.
When did HDMI become a thing?
I don't know. I know it was around at least in like 2005. But I assume it came out around the same time that Blu-rays were hitting the market. So like 2005, 2006.
And then before that, the
Component had its day in the sun for like a couple of years.
Oh, I'm thinking of just in terms of pure media cables. I mean, if you think of computer, before that, VGA was the previous.
VGA was more for computers, not television so much.
Right. I mean, you have the VGA output from the Dreamcast.
Yep.
And I don't know when that came out. I have to look up the history. But it feels like it's
VGA.
The VGA.
I would assume sometime in the 80s.
It feels like we need another standard now.
HDMI just kind of keeps upgrading, isn't there? Like HDMI 2.0 or 3.0 now?
Yeah, something like that. It feels like we need something else, even though I don't want one. So I keep going to keep my cables and not have to keep replacing them every so often. And as long as it keeps working, I guess. Actually, I wonder how that works. I don't know how do they upgrade? Is it just another cable?
I assume the cable does additional things and is capable of higher bandwidth and higher resolutions. But then the logic is that it's backwards compatible with your older stuff, which is much nicer.
Mm-hmm.
So like an HDMI 2.0 port will still support an HDMI 1.0 device. What if you use RF for everything, asks Remy. Then I have failed you as a teacher.
RF for life.
No.
Remy, you're amazing. Wait, Remy, do you use RF for everything?
You should know better. You own a Pippin, you gotta sound cool.
You are cool, Remy, if you use RF for everything.
No.
Keep doing it.
Chip is the only person who owns a FrameMeister for composite.
It was easy. You plug it in and boom.
He doesn't even deny it.
Why would I?
It as a composite adapter.
It works. They're there. If they're there, clearly I'm going to plug something into them.
No, because you could do other things.
Like what? Ride on a duck boat?
You could ride a duck boat, but that's not...
They don't exist.
Everybody... I don't understand this about him. He denies the existence of duck boats. It doesn't make any sense.
Duck boats
Google
do not
duck
exist.
boat. It's a real thing. It's not some weird sex trap on Google. It's a fucking just vehicle. And he has
No,
a problem.
do not Google duck boats.
I've shown it to him.
Go duck
It's
boats.
not real.
No searching for duck boat. Duck boats are not real. You would have a better chance of finding, what was that? The Phantom game system, whatever it was. Finding one of
Infinity
those.
Labs Phantom that never made it out.
Yes.
Why does everybody remember that? I remember that
why.
shit too, and I don't know why. It was just like ads in magazines, but it was like a stock photo somewhere, and like I remember that platform. Does anybody else remember the Infinium Labs Phantom? The idea was. This was a big deal in the day. It's going to sound especially ridiculous to PC gamers, but the logic was, hey, have you ever wanted a game on a PC, but you just don't want to install the discs? Well, the Infinium Labs Phantom is going to have a disc drive for PC games, and it's just going to play them. That's the console. And it was like, holy shit, that's cool. And it never got made.
Never got made.
I remember that shit, though. That was cool.
Just like the duck boat, never got made.
Duck boats
never existed.
Definitely a thing. Are you going to fly tomorrow? No. That tradition seems to have been broken in the last couple of streams because I haven't really been going anywhere this month except for San Francisco briefly.
I'm going to fly tomorrow.
There you go. We're kind of holding it together. We're kind of holding it together.
Let's see. I don't see any questions. I do see people just shouting duck boat, which will not get you a duck boat. They don't exist.
It doesn't get you a duck boat, but they are a thing.
Shouting duck boat means nothing.
It means you see a duck boat.
Do not shout duck boat. That means
Hashtag
nothing.
duck boat.
No. Hashtag does not exist. Duck boat.
You see what I'm dealing with here?
Let's see. What generation do you think the new one falls into?
It's 6th gen, but it's kind of a weird thing. It's one of those like half bizarre consoles. The Samsung Nuon had, I think it was 6 games. But it was more of a DVD player that had game support in it. It's kind of weird because it's like the spiritual successor to the Atari Jaguar. Including like it has like this badass version of Tempest on it and stuff. I don't own one. I have played on one. It's pretty cool. I'd love to get one, but it really was just more of a DVD player than an actual dedicated game console. But if I had one, I would totally make a video on it and stuff. And if you have to include it in a generation, then yeah, it technically is 6th gen, which is interesting because it might be the last of like the bizarre consoles. When I say bizarre, or graveyard consoles, like back when anyone could show up, make a console, and then it would just die like a week later. Our infamous Apple Pippin, CDI, 3DO, whatever. Before it was just like the mainstay companies. I think Samsung's Nuon was the last one. Because I don't include things like the Mattel Hyperscan because that was never meant to be competitive. Whereas I think the Nuon was at some point meant to be competitive. It obviously failed spectacularly in that goal, but I think it was meant to be competitive. I don't know.
Oh man,
I don't know enough about it. That's kind of what I know about it at this point. I would have to do more research on it.
You mentioned the Hyperscan reminds me of sending it to Mark from Classic Game Room.
Oh, show him some Classic Game Room stuff. This dude is a big fan of Classic Game Room.
Oh yeah,
I don't know. Like I'm the consolation prize.
Let's see. So here's a shirt.
See, he didn't deny it.
There it is. There's a shirt I'm wearing, and I got one of the glasses, and I got plenty of other stuff from him. Unfortunately, some of it had to go, but I kept the glasses, I kept the laser disc, and a bunch of other stuff. He was actually really nice. He sent me a box of old merch stuff that he had at one point, and I kept the majority of it, like the T-shirts and the glasses and stuff. I have beanies too, even though it never gets cold in Austin, Texas. It's ridiculously hot. So, yeah, but no, he's fun. I'd love to meet him in person someday.
So the other person he did that show with originally is David Crossan, who's actually one of my best friends. So it's actually really funny to kind of get that weird small world circle that goes on with that. Oh, this is a really good question for you, Chip. What time is it in Canada?
Oh, well, let me think about what time it is in Canada. Well, I mean, I imagine it's this time in Canada. Well, it depends.
Canada has 5 time zones. You should know, Philippe, we're not Canadian. I live in Chicago, Illinois. He lives in Austin, Texas. We're both Americans. the part of Canada I frequent the most is on East Coast time, so it's like the same time as New York. So it would be almost 9:30 p.m. over there. But then they have another time zone beyond that, and then they have like 2 behind us, and then we go on further because of Alaska and Hawaii, and of course Guam.
Guam. I forgot about Guam.
I want to go to Guam. We should all go to Guam. You want to just go?
Said,
like all of us?
Said no one ever.
We should all fucking go to Guam. What are you guys doing tomorrow? Who's paying for the flights? Chip's paying for our flights. We're all going to Guam.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's something I can definitely afford right now.
Yeah, no, he can totally do it. Totally. If anybody wants to super chat a payment so that we can all go to Guam, let's go.
Chris J. I'm just going to change the subject. We're not going to Guam.
We're not going to Guam.
Chris J. asks, do I have those CGR magazines or books? The comics that he made, I had... I can't remember if I kept it or not. I had his Ethel the Ninja, whatever it was he made, that I think was a Kickstarter or something. I had one of those. I had some custom artwork that was done by Derek from...
Derek Lasaga, who was in here earlier?
No, Derek from... He was the guy that did the Classic Game Room... What's the other one called? Undertow.
Okay.
He was like one of the main guys in that. Yeah, there we go. I sent him... Actually, I used to send Mark a lot of stuff, but then I realized he got to maybe 1 out of every 50 things I sent.
I could see why.
Well, yeah, I mean, he has a huge backlog. And that was back in 2011 or 12 when he would... To me, that was his peak, was because he had so many people working underneath him. You know, he had... I think he even had like some girl doing news or something at one point, and he had like so many people doing Undertow, and he had people doing a toy channel and some other stuff. It was crazy, and so I remember sending a bunch of stuff then, but I started sending Derek more stuff. Like I sent him the Zavix port or whatever, which was basically, it came before the Wii and tried to do Wii motion controls before the Wii happened. It was terrible, but it's hilarious to watch Derek complain about it so much. And I sent him a bunch of other stuff too that was really crappy.
I like. I'm sorry.
What?
People think this guy thinks you're Scott, the Canadian. Have Scott say something Canadian. This isn't Scott.
Sorry to burst a bubble.
Adam, why do you hate things like S-Video on GameCube when it looks fine and is the cheapest way to get a good image out of it? It's not that I hate it, it's that it's just wrong. It's not, there are better options. I'm not going to sit there and be like, yeah, you know, this is fucking okay, do it this way. No, fuck that. I'm going to show you the best option. You decide on your own how you're going to do it. That's up to your budget and your interest. I'm just going to show you, like, this is the way it works if you want to do it correctly. Why do it wrong if you don't have to? Did I like Spider-Man Homecoming? I did. That is proof. I know people think I hate Sony. I'm sorry that they own a film studio that's incompetent. But that movie is proof that Sony shouldn't be allowed to make movies. They let Disney make that one, and it's like the only Spider-Man movie worth seeing after that. It's fucking fantastic. Did you see it?
I didn't see it.
Part of the MCU, not the stupid standalones. I like the Tobey Maguire era ones, and then it got wrecked. And then, like, really, the Amazing Spider-Man was just fucking garbage.
I never saw that one. I saw the Tobey Maguire ones. I only saw the first 2 of the Tobey Maguire ones.
Don't ever see Spider-Man 3. Don't ever see it.
Remy, we're never going to use RF in duck boat form. It's going to tell you, because there's no duck boat form.
Not even sure how to explain that.
There is no explanation, because duck boat form doesn't exist.
Oh, okay. But yeah, Spider-Man Homecoming is fantastic, and I'm really looking forward to Avengers Infinity War. That's going to be cool. Component is still stupid expensive, and HDMI mods are still more expensive. Is it really worth it? That's up, like I said, that's up to you to judge. That's up to you and your budget. I'm telling you it's the best, and I'm showing you that. That's up to you to decide. I don't tell you what you have to buy. I show you options and let you choose for yourself.
I'm trying to think now. This is completely unrelated to anything we've talked about. But I'm trying to think back to what the first video game was that I played, and I can't remember.
For me, it was Super Mario World.
On the Super Nintendo?
Yeah.
Is that the one that had
I remember that moment.
Was that the one that had all the games in one?
That was one of the games in it, but Super Mario World was a specific title.
Okay, that was Super Mario All-Stars, I think. Had
Super Mario All-Stars with Super Mario World. There was 2 versions.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think what I played.
Was that a question someone asked?
No, I just kind of went off in my own little world here.
Well, focus on the questions, buddy.
Well, there weren't any questions.
There's a bunch of them.
About Duck Boat. Where?
Who would win in a fight between you and me? I'm going with Chip. He's in better shape and he's in Texas. They got guns.
Speaking of shape, man, I gotta get in better shape. My
Maybe I got a
diet,
shot then.
yeah, my diet the past 3 or 4 weeks has been awful, and I have not done my cardio, so I got to get back into shape.
See,
I've just been
he knows the word
so busy.
cardio. That wins. I don't do that shit. I've been dieting a lot lately. I've been losing weight. Today I
Well,
went way
eating
off.
sushi is not a diet.
I eat just plain oatmeal in the morning. I drink a lemon. I have one little tray of sushi, and then for dinner I have oranges. I lost a bunch of weight. I'm doing that. Today I went way off the grid though. My buddy Trey, who was in here earlier, he took me to this place, and we walk in. And it's like, this is an insane diner. This place is crazy. And it was the special of the day. Chip was French toast burgers.
Oh my god!
I was like, what? Because I wanted both sweet and savory. So I was like, done. I'm gonna try this, and it was exactly what it sounded like.
Oh man,
It was good.
that sounds amazing.
It was.
Did you take any pictures of it?
I did. I have a photo of it. I would post it in here, but I have no way to do that. I'll send it to you later, though.
All right. Put it
Actually,
on
let me
Instagram.
send it. I can send it to you over Facebook right now. Just hang on a second.
Okay, I want to see this amazingness.
All right.
Can you not paste pictures into live chat?
Unfortunately, they have not enabled that.
Oh, it's disappointing.
It is. But I can send it to you. There you go. Take a look at Facebook.
Oh snap!
Yeah, I can send links, but I have no link to it. So there's no way I could show you guys. Otherwise, I totally would.
You put it on Instagram and then I'll link it that way, but you can do that later. It's taking forever to load. It must be a really big French toast burger. Let's see. Oh my gosh.
I think I was the only person to have ever ordered it because they came over and asked me, like, is it good? Because it was the special of the day. It wasn't something that's usually on the menu. And I'm guessing I was the only person who ordered it. And they were just, like, curious. Like, the chef was curious if this would work or not. And I was like, yeah, it's fine.
That's never a good sign.
Yeah, I lived it up, man. But
And
I'm
it was
going right
good?
back on the diet tomorrow. That was not a thing. French toast burgers are exactly what they sound like. It's French toast, maple syrup, all that shit, fucking burger patty, bacon, fries, all that shit. The weird thing is, in their case, they didn't include like vegetables, so there was like no tomatoes or anything like lettuce. I would have preferred they went all out. I'm like, you're gonna do this, do it balls to the wall here, but they didn't.
Yeah. Remy says, you know it's good when there's French before I'm assuming before the other words.
Yeah. Well, he's French, so that makes sense.
Of course, it's true.
Remy is our resident French admin, so respect him because he's French.
All the respect.
He invented fries and toast.
Let's see. Do you know any reason why the 3DOS video looks terrible?
I don't know. Depends on how you're hooking it up. If you're just hooking it straight into a modern television, that's why. Because I think it runs
An
at,
upscale?
like, yeah, the TV wasn't designed to handle that, so it's probably running. I forget. I think the S-video or the 3DO outputs at like 240p. Your TV can't understand that, so it just says, "Oh, that's 480i." So it essentially blows it up and interlaces it, which makes it look bad. If you were to connect it through something like the FrameMeister, which properly would handle it, it would look better. That said, it's not like the 3DO is going to look amazing. The S-Videos is the best it's got. I think it can be modded for RGB, but that's kind of an intense thing to do for a platform people don't really give a shit about.
There you go. There's your answer. Let's see. Anything else?
Which Bahar Bros VGA box is the best? Not so much VGA, but I'd go with the Akura because it's got HDMI out. I really like that.
Yeah, I just got those in. I have not plugged in a Dreamcast, though, to try it out.
Oh, you should. I had the first one. The Akura.
The first one?
The first one. They gave me the first prototype.
Wow.
They said so that I could do the video on it, which was awesome of them to do.
You are the Dreamcast
That's my
guru,
point.
wizard,
this
king.
Going back around is why I have to order Xenocrisis without even knowing what the game is. Because I'm that guy. That's my job. I have to do that. I don't have the choice.
I can respect you ordering it without reading about it first, but I would have thought your curiosity would have made you actually know what you just ordered as well. Or
fuck
not
that.
ordered.
Fuck that.
Backed.
I want to go in just blind and crazy. No, I'll read about it later.
Let's see. Questions. Not really seeing much of the latest stuff.
Well, then go to the bottom.
I am at the bottom. That's why I said the latest
There's a
stuff.
perfect question right there. Talk about the MCU after the Fox Disney deal, please. Perfect. Go ahead.
It just got here. I don't know.
Go ahead, Chip.
I have no idea what to talk about that. It's your expertise.
Okay. Do you understand the question?
No.
All right. The MCU is the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
I didn't know that stood for. There's so many acronyms.
You guys see what I'm working with here? All right. The MCU, Marvel Cinematic Universe, which I'm sure you guys all know. So Fox, Disney acquired Fox, which means they now get back all the characters Fox had, which would be
the X-Men characters,
the X-Men, the Fantastic Four, Deadpool, as well as some other like Blade characters that were still sitting over there, some other ones that were rotting. The only one they don't get back is Spider-Man because he's still at Sony, and they have like a weird combo deal. So there is obviously no plan to integrate them right away. My guess is that because that deal can't be 100% official until sometime next year, assuming Congress allows the deal to go through, that the Fantastic Four's villains will likely be the first thing integrated. Like Galactus will probably be the next thing they build up to. Second thing they'll look into is Deadpool. I think Deadpool is the only pre-existing movie franchise that Fox made that they're going to hold on to. I think Deadpool 1 will retroactively be added to the MCU because nothing in it didn't make that work. There's some X-Men stuff, but there's no reason you can't really tie those in since they'll have X-Men as well. They did go to the same set, the same house as the other X-Men movies, but since you didn't see any of the previous characters, it does work. So I think that one will be fine. Disney's not going to fuck with Deadpool. Don't be afraid of it. They're not stupid. And so that one will be okay. X-Men, I think, is going to be the hardest thing to integrate because you're going to have to build a whole new universe around it. But at the same time, Fox had a whole slate of X-Men movies set up this year that they're still going to release. So those are going to like come. The first one's like The New Mutants, which is a bunch of freaky kids. Then there's, I don't remember the one after it. And then there's like the first of the Dark Phoenix trilogy, which will not be a trilogy now. It'll just be that movie. And then supposedly Gambit was still going to be made, but I don't see that actually happening. So that's my guess is those come out, but they're not MCU. And then they just kind of eventually integrate the X-Men. I always thought that was, again, I don't know comics the same way that a lot of you, I'm sure, do. But I always thought keeping the X-Men out of the MCU made it more special. Because, let me argue this to you, Chip. You see in those Marvel movies, you get Spider-Man Homecoming and the Avengers and excuse me, I burped that was from the French toast burger. Thank you. You see those movies. Spider-Man is a unique entity. Captain America is a unique entity. Iron Man is a unique entity. But if the X-Men are a part of that universe, 98%, 99% of all freaks, if you want to call them that, are just people with a mutant genome. And then Captain America is just like, oh, he's not a mutant? Well, what is he? Oh, he's some guy with like muscle enhancers? That's dumb. I feel like if that was a real universe, everyone would assume all the characters were by default X-Men, and the only stories that would be interesting for Spider-Man to be involved with are ones where there's some sort of like virus that's knocking out all the X-Men, and only the freaks like Spider-Man or Captain America or whoever can deal with the situation because they're not affected by it. Does that make sense to you?
It does.
So
my brain's going towards attention again, so keep going.
So having those characters, I'm sure, can only be helpful, basically, as long as they don't like explode them the way Fox did, where it's just like there's way too many of them. And if they find, I mean, again, I am not a big comic book dude, but I do understand more about film. And what I would say in that regard is, if you can find a way to have like the X-Men we all like a lot and just kind of keep it confined to those, maybe instead of a big genetic thing that happened to the X-Men where like anybody can be one, it was something that happened to like 100 people tops, then it's more interesting, at least in my opinion. Or it's much, much, much rarer than it is portrayed in the Fox movies. Now, how that works in the story, I don't know, because evolution is one of those things that takes a really fucking long time. Maybe the events of Infinity War with all that radiation coming from Thanos led to it. I don't know. That's
mystery.
Is that too long of an answer?
I mean, it's in depth. That's what they want, right?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I just talk, and I just see what happens. If the views are going up, then I assume I'm doing okay.
Hey.
That's about it. I assume I'm doing okay if the views are just going down. That's about it. That's what I strive for. Just don't go down if we don't have to. Do you have thoughts on any of that?
I forgot what the original question was. Something to do with MCU and them acquiring it.
Yeah, what do you think the MCU is going to do now that they're going to have those characters back?
Well, it's interesting because some of the characters that they acquired Well, the actors have sunset the actual character.
Oh, no, if you're thinking like they're gonna keep that X-Men universe, no, they're not. Like the
Yeah,
Hugh
it's
Jackman
gone.
era, those movies will not be canon with the MCU. The only one that I think has any chance of staying is Deadpool. The rest gone. Fantastic Four movies that Fox made, gone. X-Men movies that they made, gone. Deadpool remains, and that's it. That's my guess.
Well, I mean, I think it's even more definitive proof is just because Logan, the movie Logan, wrapped it up for two of the main X-Men characters anyway.
Yeah, so like
actually more of them. So
yeah, so keep the Fox X-Men universe its own thing. Now it's time to let Marvel, Disney handle it, and that's why I think Deadpool's the only survivor of that merger.
What I hope is that they don't approach just reusing the same most well-known X-Men characters like Xavier, because to be honest, I grew up watching, and I forgot his name, Patrick Stewart.
Yeah.
Playing Xavier for so long, and Hugh Jackman playing Logan and or Wolverine, and it's like I can't. They've defined those characters so much in the movie universe that I can't really see someone else portraying that character, and not just thinking, oh, there's an imposter. I hope they
give it time. Just give it time.
Well, yeah, give it time, but for me personally, it's going to take a lot of time, and I'd hope that they'd actually take the time to focus on more interesting characters that have not been in movies constantly, because they're trying it. You know, they have Black Panther coming out. That's not a well-known character as much as, say, the standard Spider-Man or Captain America.
I gotta give massive credit to Marvel Studios, Disney. Like they have done an unbelievable job with that. Like when they went into their own Spider-Man movie with Homecoming, they had the problem of like, we have to introduce this character's origin in a movie where this character's origin has been explained to the public like 3 times already in just the past few years. Like, do we really want to do that? And they were so smart to just, hey, fuck it, why don't we just not do it? Like, he'll have a line of dialogue basically explaining it to another character, and you just move on because the audience fucking knows already. You know, we don't care. It's not important. And I think that is the same type of logic they'll apply to the X-Men. They just won't do like weird start over stories and things like that. I think they'll just find a better way to integrate them.
Yeah,
that's my guess. So I'm curious to see how it plays out. But if I had to guess, I'd say that's kind of how it goes.
So for some reason, something you said about a virus in Marvel a long time, like way back, reminded me of a Marvel comic strip I was reading. It was all posted on Imager a couple of years back, and it was a what-if scenario if a virus started infecting all of the Marvel heroes and villains, and it basically made them zombies.
Okay.
And it was fantastic. It was, I think they called it The Hunger. That's what they called it, and it was amazing. So many characters I'd never heard of course, show up. So basically, it's taking every single person in the whole universe and just throwing them in, trying to fight their way out, and not be turned into zombies, and all sorts of things happening. And it's been going on. I don't think they've had one in a while, but I think they've had 5 different issues or whatever, or volumes that basically focus on this zombie scenario. Like they had a Galactus that became a zombie Galactus, and they had Magneto leading a small group that were trying to survive against all the zombies, and they had folks that were trying to starve the zombies, but they ended up eating aliens that visited the planet to see what was going on, and like other stuff. It's crazy. But anyway, if folks are ever interested in a weird Marvel universe what if scenario, that is a great one. I think you can just look up Marvel zombies and you'll find like a Wikipedia article that discusses the whole thing.
We just got a super chat from our boy Rob Janos, who's been very generous tonight. Thank you very much, Rob. No question, but I think that you'd appreciate that I'm playing the Star Wars Christmas special on the TV section at my job right now, Holiday Spirit. The holiday special. It's not actually a Christmas special. It's my fault too. I say that all the time. Thank you, Rob, for the super chat. Have you ever seen the holiday special, the Star Wars holiday special, Chip?
No.
Oh, it's a crime. It is so bad. It's unreal. And I'll defend the prequels. I'll defend a lot of stuff, but that is unwatchable shit. The best part of it, there's a section where they go to a very familiar cantina set because it was shot in 1978, so they still had the same set from 1977.
Okay.
And the person running the cantina has the Empire is like, hey, we're gonna come in, we have to shut down your cantina, and she has to just deal with the situation that the Empire wants to take her cantina. That person is B fucking Arthur. She is the best part of the entire thing.
You're going to have to refresh me on who B. Arthur is.
Oh, Golden Girls?
Never saw it.
Google B. Arthur. Just fucking do it. Along with Duckboat. Look up Duckboats and B. Arthur. You'll find her. B. Arthur was real. She was a real thing.
So you're admitting that duckboats are not real?
I'm admitting duckboats are real just like B. Arthur was.
No.
Both are real.
No.
Now, I've only ridden a duckboat. I never rode B. Arthur, but I did ride a duckboat. Now, look up fucking B. Arthur. Not fucking B. Arthur, but look up B. Arthur.
Stop.
Yes.
Stop.
My point is, the Star Wars Holiday Special is terrible, and she's the best part of it, which would say a lot. Now, I had nothing against B. Arthur, but I never think of Star Wars and B. Arthur like in the same, but she's the best part. There's a pointless animated special in the middle of it where they talk about, oh, James Earl Jones as Darth Vader. He has one line. I
can't even picture because I don't know who the person is, but I'll take your word for it that it's pretty bad.
Look up B. Arthur. If you don't recognize her, I'll be astonished.
Don't recognize her.
You didn't look her up?
I'm just going to say it now. I don't recognize her.
What is with this guy?
Never seen Golden Girls.
What I'm dealing with here? He denies duckboats. He denies B. Arthur. Why?
Okay.
What weird things to deny?
Okay, putting that aside, I still don't see any questions. I just kind of see...
People are reacting to all the B. Arthur commentary.
I guess so.
If you guys are... I know you guys obviously watch me for this channel, but I talk a very dirty game over on Game Society as different characters like Stitch.
Well, Stitch from Lilo and Stitch. My version of Stitch is a rapist. It's fucked up.
Yeah, look at Chip's face.
Oh, and then Mickey Mouse, who will dominate the fucking world.
I have a very filthy mouth on me, but I usually relegate that to Game Society for comedic purposes. But sometimes it slips out here.
Scary.
Look at Duckboat Man. He is afraid.
Who?
You.
Duckboat Man.
Duckboat Man.
It's like the worst power.
Hashtag Duckboat Denier. You're like a flat earther, but for duckboats. It doesn't make any sense.
Okay. Well, we're gonna move on from that.
Okay. What do you got?
People keep mentioning a Dreamcast Mini.
As a concept?
I have no idea what they're talking about.
I assume they're saying like, hey, would you like to see a Dreamcast Mini like the NES Classic or the SNES? Sure. Like I wouldn't buy that. Like maybe out of just like that's cool because it can go in my Dreamcast collection thing, but I'd never play it that way. Like I don't care about that.
Do you think Nintendo is going to come out with a 64 Classic in the next couple of years?
What? N60? Sorry, repeat?
Yeah, an N64 Classic. Do you think Nintendo will come out with
I think they'll do it.
one?
I don't think they're going to do it next year. I think what they're going to do is Game Boy Classic this year.
You think they're going to keep the trend of classics? I mean, the thing is, no one can ever get one. Ever.
SNES wasn't that hard to get.
I never found one.
I didn't try, but a lot of people kept saying they were easy to find.
Target,
if
Best Buy.
If Norm, the gaming historian, was here, he would be pissed. He's a buddy of mine. Why would he be pissed?
About what?
I don't know. I don't know what he'd be pissed about. Maybe because
I
I mentioned B. Arthur. I don't know. I didn't know that was one of Norm's hot buttons. I'll ask him next time I see him.
How many coffees have you had today?
I don't know. 3, 4?
Seems low for you.
It is. I got one right here, though.
You should drink the whole thing.
I'm slowly doing that.
Right now, the whole thing.
I'm already in 2018. Based on what?
What?
I don't know. I must have said something a lot of people are just like, what?
I have no idea.
I don't know what I said. I say a lot of fucked up shit.
Okay.
That's one of the fun things about a live show.
Let's see. What is your friend's favorite airline? I'm assuming I'm your friend?
I assume that's you, yeah. Chip, what's your favorite airline?
I liked Virgin America a lot.
I just flew on them last week.
They have a really hip safety video.
Yeah, I admit, I hate all those stupid, like, buckle your seatbelt videos, but they do have the best one.
It's very catchy. I started, like, kind of doing a little dance to it.
It's the only one where, like, afterwards, I'm kind of like, I visualize the actual dance number.
So that one's good.
No, I don't know how much longer it'll last, because they're merging with Alaska, and I think the plan is to make it Alaska the dominant airline. So I think Virgin's fleet is just going to be part of Alaska's fleet.
It is. I know that I had Virgin American points or whatever.
Yeah, you transfer them to Alaska while you still can.
Yeah, I already did.
Good.
and then everywhere else it's like, oh, put in your put in your Alaska Airlines or Virgin America point number in here to get points, right? Or miles, whatever it is.
Yeah, that plan ceases to exist at December 31st.
Oh, bummer. Delta is what I've grown up flying on because their headquarters is where I flew out of all the time. Atlanta. But I wouldn't say that they are my favorite. I think Virgin America was nice, followed by probably Southwest. I like Southwest just because if I got in line early enough, I could always get an aisle seat, whereas with a lot of the other ones, I had to try to struggle to get an aisle seat. A lot of times they'd already be taken, and I really need an aisle seat. I cannot stand having to sit in a chair for a long period of time. This is kind of like my limit is this period of time, and I can actually stretch my legs properly compared to an airline seat that sucks. There you go, rant over.
No, that's what you were asked to talk about.
Yep. Do I have a Game Boy Micro? I do not have a Game Boy Micro. I remember when those were coming out. What was that? 2005. I'm trying to remember when the Game Boy Micro came out. Yeah, that sounds about right. And I still have my Game Boy SP with the EverDrive or whatever version thing you can have in there. Funny story, sad story. Remy, you probably have these games. I'm sure you found them way back in the day.
There's an old reference.
Say what?
That's an old reference that only people on the podcast who go way back are going to know. But go ahead.
Yeah, so when I was little, I had a bunch of Game Boy games, Game Boy Color games, and my parents and I went on a trip to Europe, and we were touring different parts. And while we were in France, we were taking the trains to go to 3 different parts of Europe. And when we were in France, I left my little Game Boy pack that was black on next to a seat in the train. And those trains move very quickly, at least back then they did. You know, they'd stop, and 2 minutes later they were gone. And I literally turned around and realized all my games were left on that train, and it was gone. Never saw them again. I'm sure Remy got them all and was playing them all day long.
Yeah, Remy was the kid sitting just to the right of that. He was like, idiot, stupid American.
Oh, Remy says it on his lap right now. I mean, there were a lot of games.
Yeah.
So that happened. And so then I started building up a collection of Game Boy Advance games. Because at that point, I think the Game Boy Advance was coming out or just come out or something around the time that I lost those games. And so I started getting those games instead of the other ones. And I had a decent collection of those as well. And then I went to college. And one year I came back from college, one summer or something, for a week or so. And I couldn't find them. And I thought, I must have misplaced them somewhere. Turns out someone stole them from our house because we found out someone had been going into our house that used to clean our house and was just stealing random stuff from our house. And they stole those games a long time ago. So basically, I have no Game Boy games, no Game Boy Advance, no Game Boy Color, so I got this EverDrive to use for the Game Boy. That was that long story to explain why I have the EverDrive.
Sad, sir.
Sad, but hey, I'm like, okay, I already basically paid through allowance or parents or myself with the job to get games twice, and I keep losing them, so I'm like, I'm not doing it again. I've owned all the games that I have on this EverDrive, so I'm not paying for them a third time. So there you go.
So Joseph kept asking about airlines. He's the one who asked you that question, and then he's talking about how much he loves Southwest. I'm starting because you, Joseph, I have noticed you tend to talk about one of two things: airlines or the Disney Fox merger. You bring it up all the time. I'm curious, do you work for one of these companies? Why does that keep coming up? It's funny to me.
He coordinates executives from
he's a flight coordinator for Southwest Airlines to try and bring employees from Fox over to Disney to talk the deal. And he wants to know.
Boom.
That's his job specifically. Are you out of work now, or do you still have work for the next year while they do the rest of that? Have I ever been robbed? Yes. Back when I was in college, my car got broken into, and my iPod was stolen. That sucked.
Oh, that is sad.
Yeah. It was weird, though, because it happened 3 days before my birthday. And on my birthday, randomly, my college had this party for a class. So I went to that party, and the party had a raffle. I won the raffle. What was the prize? Fucking iPod. I was like, sweet. I got an iPod 3 days after my old one was stolen. It was newer, and it was my birthday. How fucking cool is that?
It was meant to be.
It was.
I had never been robbed, in case someone was curious.
You just said you got stuff stolen from your house.
Never been robbed directly. I mean, that was my parents' house, so I kind of view it as them stealing from the parents.
I've never been like mugged, if that's the question.
You've never been mugged. I have been stalked though. That was kind of weird.
Have you been molested?
Hopefully not.
You don't know? Then the guy wasn't very good at it, I guess.
Hey, I don't remember anything from like 3 years ago.
Maybe you were then.
Could have been. Who knows?
Sorry, people. This just got dark. Welcome to
let's see.
Adam Q&A After Dark here.
Oh. Do you play live blackjack? What?
No.
No. I do play blackjack, but not live. On this stream. Let's see. Retrobit, released for Sega.
We talked about those, the USB controllers.
Oh, okay. Missed that. Let's see. Anything else? RetroPie.
I don't care. I know a lot of people love that stuff, but I'm not into.
Oh, that's the Raspberry Pi.
I'm not into like replication stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have a Raspberry Pi sitting somewhere. I was using it to be a mini computer to have a badge reader so I could have people badge in for events. That's all I used it for. Had to write some software for that. That was fun.
Rerez commented on one of my videos before. I will stop being a dick. Rerez? Shane? He's one of my best friends. Good dude.
Hey-o. I was not stalked by Duckboat. Duckboat does not exist.
I love that mental image of this giant fucking duckboat that's self-aware, just like hiding outside his house. He opens up like those fucking the blinds back there, and there's just a duckboat out there. He's like, ah, you're not real.
There is.
And it's just like quack, quack, quack.
Does not exist.
That is the sound. That is the denial of someone who is afraid. He's afraid of the duckboat in his heart.
In my heart,
yes.
Please. I would be afraid of it if it existed. It does not exist. There's nothing to be afraid of.
Okay.
So there. Let's see. So Philippe, I don't know how to pronounce his name. What is your next trip? Yours being Adam's trip.
This is unknown for sure. I might be bouncing out briefly to Germany and then over to Portugal to see my girlfriend. But that's not 100% certain yet. It's a possibility. It's if I can swing it with miles and stuff like that.
And then let's see. Someone asked me what my favorite console was. I think it's PlayStation followed by Super Nintendo. Super Nintendo is what I grew up on, and Chrono Trigger is a very favorite game of mine, along some other games like Super Mario World. I think was the one, and later, I got into a lot of RPGs on the PlayStation, Suikoden 2. I played Ogre Battle March of the Black Queen on there. That was a fun one. That was a remake from the Super Nintendo version. I played Vagrant Stories, or is it Vagrant Stories? I always forget how to pronounce that. Vagrant Stories was fun. Never played a Final Fantasy game on it, but I played... what was that? There was a Tomba. Tomba was a fun game. I had that one. That's a fun platformer. A bunch of games on the PlayStation, and also the Super Nintendo. Those were the good ones. Portable-wise, Game Boy Advance, hands down, was my favorite. I would play Advance Wars, the hot seat mode, where you kind of pass the console, the handheld around to folks as they take their turns in this tactical strategy game, and it was fantastic. I mean, I have so many memories of that system. So many good games. So many RPGs on there too. It's good.
Hello from the Dominican Republic. I cannot super chat from here. You can, you don't have to, obviously, but if you want to, you can use PayPal or super chat. It's totally volunteer. I appreciate the support, and really any amount, and I'll just give you instant, access to questions or whatever. But it's up to you. It's not a requirement. PayPal information's in the description if you're interested. Why don't I and my girlfriend live together? Because she's not a U.S. citizen and I am not a European Union citizen. So to make that happen requires a lot of extra steps, and so right now that's not the place we're at.
Who makes the best laptops in your opinion? You
would be way more qualified for that.
It used to be that Lenovo made pretty good laptops, especially if you want to run something like Linux on them. I would usually run Linux if I didn't have... I have a MacBook Air right now because the battery life. You can get some pretty decent laptops. I've honestly stayed away from HP or Dell or any of the other models. I know that Acer and Asus had some good netbooks. I think it depends on what kind of thing you're going for. Like, I've got the Samsung right here, a Chromebook, and it's pretty good quality. But I know Lenovo did make good ones. I feel like they've kind of gone downhill a little bit, but there's not really been any good competitor to them. Maybe Asus has gotten a little bit better, and Samsung a little bit better about their laptops as well. Yeah, Sony's definitely out. They failed that a long time ago. Yeah. We should see there's really high quality.
I am the wrong person to be asking about laptops. My laptop is 9 years old, and I use it, but I don't game on PC. See, I just use it for web browsing when I travel places. Like that's its only function, and so I have no real reason to buy a new one.
Here's one that you can answer. Sage asks, "What are your thoughts on GameCube collecting?"
Expensive. So my personal preference when it comes to GameCube collecting is I don't want to buy any GameCube games that are available on the OG Xbox. There's no point to me personally, because I prefer the Xbox over it. So what I wanted to do was get every other GameCube game that was just simply not available for the original Xbox, which is a pretty significant amount. There's a few hundred of them. Some are cheap, some are easy, and then some are your obvious expensive titles. I got a nice set. Not even close to the full thing. And then when it comes to regional exclusives, Europe is kind of easy. There's only like 6 of them, although I've only ever seen 2. And I have those 2. But Japan's a different animal because there's like a bunch of them, but they're also cheap over there. So I was kind of tackling that too. I haven't really tackled North American stuff in a while, to be honest with you, because it was just... I'm not in the right locations for it anymore. Like, you gotta do that during like convention season and stuff. That's when you can get the best deals on that. And this summer I was kind of being frugal because I knew I was going to be going to certain places like Japan. So I was like, I'd rather save the money for that.
Yeah. Yeah, I know I went on a slight GameCube collecting spree, but that was years ago. I know I got, what is that game called? It's not like an RPG, but you use cards. Baiten Kaitos.
Yeah, there's 2 of them.
Oh, it was the second one. I don't know if I had the second one. I think I had the first one.
Is Baiten Kaitos and Baiten Kaitos Origins? I think.
Maybe the second one. I can't remember. I don't know. I have one of those too.
Yeah, Baiten Kaitos. I'm looking over at them. Baiten Kaitos and Baiten Kaitos Origins.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what games do I have for the GameCube? I remember that I have the one that you thought was rare, which is the Gotcha Force game.
Gotcha Force is rare.
I just remember that was announced in Nintendo Power a long time ago. And I kept waiting for it to appear.
Do you have it nearby?
I can go get it. It's right next. It's in the room next door. 1 second.
Yeah, show him that. Quick answer to your question: Star Wars or Star Trek? I love them both. There's no reason they have to fight. If you're forcing me to pick one, I have more of a love for Star Wars. Philippe's going to bed. Thank you. Have a good night. Europe, Japan. Am I the only Yarvis Empire? Oh, and I don't know. What are my thoughts on Windows 10? I'm not currently using it. I still use Windows 7 because to me it's like the Ferrari of operating systems. But obviously at some point I'll have to do that. Why is the OG Xbox Advanced AV Pack so expensive? Is it? I don't use that one. I use the component cables by Monster. I think those are like the most high-end, like badass shit. Although I did get a set of the cables you're talking about, but I can't talk about it much yet. You guys will see it in an upcoming video. Megan just showed up, aka Stalkerbot. Welcome. Thank you for admin support. Do I have AAA? Yes, I do. Or do I still? Actually, I'm not sure if I still do. I don't know if I re-enrolled in that. How's life up in Chicago? I miss it all the time. It's pretty good. Today I went out and I had French toast burgers. Welcome to Chicago. I didn't even know it was a fucking thing. But yeah, no, it's going well here when I'm actually here. Wyatt's going to bed. Good night. You can make your own Xbox component cable from the original Xbox composite cable. How the fuck does that work? I mean, I'm not saying you're wrong. I just don't know anything about that. Are all the OG Xbox games that become compatible for the Xbox One X going to be enhanced for Xbox One X?
Turns out I didn't unpack it yet.
Oh, well, never mind.
But I did find that I have both of these games. So there's the Origins one.
Yeah, there you go.
And the other one.
Is that sealed?
Yeah.
Good job.
I don't know where I got this, but yeah, there you go.
Somewhere where you decided not to play it. Which is fine. I'm not judging.
Now, which one was first?
Probably the Baten Kaitos. Origins sounds like a prequel.
Yeah, I have no idea. Do they have a date on them? Let's see.
To answer that question about OG Xbox games, I mean, I don't know. I don't work for them. I assume that all the ones they make compatible will be Xbox One and X enhanced. Yes.
Let's see.
When's my SG-1000 video? There is no current release date. I would assume sometime in the spring. I have to actually find the time to make it, which I've actually been enjoying the fact that I haven't had to do a whole fuck ton of videos this month. It's been kind of nice.
Someone said you can make your own component cable from the original Xbox composite cable.
I read that, and I'm not sure how that works. I don't know
how to solder.
I don't know how that's possible or why you'd even do it, because the cables aren't that expensive. The official pack is, but like there are many alternatives. Monster cables are expensive. I got lucky. I found this for $5 at a Half Price Books, I think it was. They were great.
So many deals at Half Price Books.
Oh, Half Price Books is the fucking best.
Yeah.
Do I have all the Japanese Dreamcast games? I have all the ones that were exclusive to Japan. There was no reason for me to double dip on games that like Power Stone. I don't need the Japanese version of that. But like all the ones that only came out there, yes, I have all of those.
Adam, did I ever show you the Open Pandora game console? It's a handheld. Had like the Linux one, QWERTY keyboard.
Bring it on.
All right, we gotta find that one.
Have fun. Chip's getting into the dig in the closet time.
I know. I gotta put the other things back anyway.
All right, have fun. Didn't you get the Xbox to display 40p through RGB in one video? No, I've never done an Xbox like comparison video on all the different qualities because I don't own a set of RGB SCART cables for it. So without that, I can't do a valid comparison. Even though it's not even what I would recommend using, but you know, whatever. Fix the jersey. No. What Christmas gifts did I get? I have told people not to get me anything. I don't want anything. Yeah, Chip's gonna go. Chip's fun, man. Like he's got a whole bunch of random crap in his house. Although he just moved, so he got rid of a bunch of stuff. But before he did, he had a whole bunch of shit. I remember when I went down there to hang out with him. He's like, "Here, just take a whole bag full of crap." Remember when I came to your place and you're like, "Here, take a whole bag full of shit home with you."
Say what?
When I came there and you told me like, "Here, take a whole bag full of crap home. Here's a Gizmondo and like 4 Zodiacs or whatever the fuck it was."
I forgot about that.
You tried to push like 3 tablets on me.
Yeah, you wouldn't take any of those.
Yeah.
All right, so for those that don't remember, here's the Neo Geo Pocket, just for reference. I don't know if that's in the screen or not. Has a nice little 8-directional joystick that's got the micro switches underneath. And then here's the main thing. Let me actually make sure this is in the screen here. This was, I believe at this point when they released it, it was made with parts entirely sourced from Europe, different places in Europe. That was one of their proud moments. I'm trying to remember, I think folks that used to work on the, what was it, the G32X Park or whatever it was like some, I thought it was like a Korean handheld or something that was meant to run emulators.
The Dreamcast sister. I remember that. There used to be a lot of weird ports to it. I know exactly what you're talking about, yeah.
Yeah, so
it was called the Dreamcast sister.
So this is the Open Pandora, and it was a Linux handheld. I think the battery's almost dead on this. I actually have a replacement battery somewhere. But the idea was, I think it came out, I'm trying to remember when it came out, 2008, 2007? Did it have a date on it? Maybe it's a little bit later. I don't quite remember when. But it actually accepts 2 SD cards. That you can, like, one has the operating system and stuff on it. The other one is going to have more games. The battery itself, I guess if we're doing like a whole system tear down on a live stream, pops out on the back. Let me pull this out here. So it's got a little battery in the back here. It's pretty big size battery. Fits in the back, rechargeable, which is, as I discussed, is actually, I'm not as much of a fan as I used to be of the rechargeable batteries. And now it's stuck where I can't put it back in. Always good.
You'll figure it out. No, Chip is not my son.
Oh, nice! It turned on too. So yeah, it like runs a version of I think Angstrom Linux, which is just one of those embedded Linux system meant more for embedded systems kind of thing. And I can't remember if I had this booting up into a full desktop environment or if it's going to boot into, no, it's booting into a mini UI that basically gives you control to do things like start a game. And I think Battle for Westnoth is on there because it can basically play any Linux game that it has the power to play anyway. It's compatible with all of them. And you can actually boot into a full-on desktop mode. If I see if I can get this going. Let's see. Run it there, and oh, that's right. I can't move the mouse anymore. I think one of the buttons died on me.
Wow, that's quality.
Well, it's years old, but here you can see it booting up into a full little desktop environment. You're supposed to be able to use the left joystick to move around the mouse, but that one stopped working, I think. So you only have access to the right joystick.
Move it further to the right.
To the right? My right?
Yeah, you got it.
Okay. So there you go. And yeah, so that's basically it. You can play games on it and stuff. It's got a full keyboard. It has these kind of joystick nub things that are reminiscent of the PSP's nub. And has, of course, your standard little 4-button thing, function keys to the top, a full QWERTY keyboard. It was weird. I actually tried to make a game on this at one point. To develop the game on this. That was a stupid idea as a kid. There you go.
Where can I buy the Salon Cream for SNES Restore? If you're in the U.S. or Canada, you can get it at Sally's Beauty Supply. Have you got a Wonder Swan from your trip to Japan? I don't know, Chip. Do I have a Wonder Swan?
Do you have a Wonder Swan?
Did I give you one of those? You gave me a boxed Wonder Swan.
Oh, I forgot about that too.
Yeah, so yes, it's still sealed. I never opened it because you gave me a sealed one with like a Digimon game in or something.
Yeah, it was like a pack-in title. I think the language on it was Korean on the box.
Yeah, it was
right?
a Korean edition.
Yeah. I also gave you, did I give you the, what was it? It was the, it had John's Adventure.
Oh, yeah, fucking, the
What's
Chinese thing. I know exact, god damn it.
I really wanted you to play John's Adventure.
I remember that. We couldn't get to work.
I
saw games
for that. It was
that.
John Adventure. No, there was no...
John Adventure. Look up John Adventure. Whatever the hell that was on, he gave me that. I saw games for it in Amsterdam. I was really surprised by that.
Oh, yeah. I think
I sent you a picture. I was like, holy shit, they have games.
Oh, no, you sent me a picture. That's right.
Yeah. Am I going to do a Last Jedi video? I did. You can watch it on the channel already. Windows 7 support ends in 2020. Just FYI. I didn't know that. That's good to know. I'm sure by then I'll get a new PC anyway.
You at least have to hit the 10-year mark with your existing laptop before you get rid of that.
Yeah, you got to get to that first.
And I'm trying to think if there's anything else I can dig up that would be interesting to show. Since I don't do YouTube, so it doesn't really matter to me if I show stuff.
How can I donate Bitcoin to you? I don't know. Does
PayPal accept Bitcoin?
That? I don't know. I don't have one of those like. Maybe I should make a BitPay account. I think I did, but I don't know if I have ever logged into it.
Eh. Look, guys, Duckboat is not happening. There is no Duckboat. Never Duckboat. Duckboat dead. Duckboat non-existent.
It would be so great if right now there was an earthquake there and we just insert some like quack noises and you just started freaking out. That'd be the best. What will be the game of the year next year? Oh, that's way too soon to make that call. I like how Adam answers, I did, so authoritative. What did I even say that to?
I have no idea.
But I know what you're talking about. I do respond like that a lot.
Probably you made a video about something that sounds like you should make a video about
Star Wars. Yeah, did you do a Last Jedi video? I did! Yes, that's true, I did.
Miiverse died. I don't think anyone cared about that, though.
I know it had effect on some games where they actually needed it.
Yeah.
So. Oh, we just got a PayPal donation.
Hey!
Oh, it's dude from the Dominican Republic. It would be Edwin Concepcion. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. Oh, he perfect timing. He just made his comment at the same time. Dude, I've seen most of your videos. I've seen them for months now. We had an NES in the Dominican Republic. My favorite game was Super Mario Brothers 2. Really? The second one? Well, first of all, thank you for the donation. There's not really a question in that, but I guess I would say that's cool that the NES got... What else came out in the Dominican Republic? I'd be lying if I said I had any idea which game consoles were released there. Now I guess I know the NES was. Super Mario Brothers 2, though, not my favorite, because it was all based on that Doki Doki Panic game. Did you ever play that?
Was that the one where you could play with 4 different characters.
Yeah, and then Mario, you know, like Luigi can
I like
jump
that
really-
one.
I never like that. But that, you know, that's actually a Japanese game called Doki Doki Panic.
Yeah, I think we discussed this.
Yeah, I
at
have
some other
the
point.
I have the Famicom Disk System game, which never got released here because it was like a weird Japanese celebration game in conjunction with Nintendo and a TV network.
Mm-hmm.
But they ported it over here instead of Super Mario Brothers 2 that they got because that version was too hard, and Nintendo of America thought you're going to kill the franchise if you release that here. So I don't know, that's why it always felt weird. That's the reason. When I was playing as a kid. Now, I didn't know that as a kid. I just still didn't like it as much. Super Mario Bros. 3, to me, is still the best NES game ever made. Come at me. But I like the remake of it better on SNES. I gotta say, the NES is not a console that I ever really fell in love with. I think it was just a little too old for me. I was just at the wrong age for it. Because when I was playing it, it was the old one. Back when that actually fucking mattered as a kid. So I would play it at my cousin's house and stuff, and I'd play like Ninja Turtles and things like that. But I never found a game on there that I truly loved, except for Super Mario Bros. 3. But I always gravitated to the SNES version. What about you?
I mean, I never really played the Nintendo, the original one. I just played the Super Nintendo growing up, so that was what I did, and I switched to PlayStation. So it's kind of those two were the things I grew up with and really enjoyed. I mean, I had some some games that really resonated with me for the Super Nintendo and the PlayStation. So
right on. He says that the second console he had was awesome. We had the Sega Coleco. We had the Sega. I assume he's talking about the Genesis. ColecoVision. Activision didn't make a console. I assume you're talking about Intellivision, Atari 2600, and Atari 7800. So yeah, you had a lot of the second gen stuff then. That's cool.
White Knight asks, Chipe, do you like the PSP Go?
Chipe. What do
Chipe.
you think of it, Chipe?
Well, let me go get one and show you.
Hashtag duckboat.
It's
never not going to be funny.
It's never going to be real.
No, it's always real. How can he deny the duckboat? It's insane. Super Mario Bros. 3 on SNES, part of the Super Mario All-Stars collection. Those aren't straight NES ports. They're actually 16-bit remakes of all those games. Highly recommended, particularly with that game. What's your opinion on Attack on Titan? God, I don't really remember it that well. We did a video for it for Machinima, but I don't think I was the one who even played that. Is that an anime too? I don't know much about it. Do I have Super Mario Brothers: The Lost Levels? I assume you mean Super Mario Brothers 2 in Japan. Yes. Yes, I do. Actually, I think that's a spoiler for tomorrow. Tomorrow I got a video coming out about Book Off in Tokyo. I went there back in October. So I went to a bunch of different stores. And hey, Chip. So I did a bunch of collection stuff all in one video. And that video will be coming out tomorrow. It's cool. It's like 20 minutes of Japanese pickups. You'll like it.
New video.
Yeah, tomorrow. Actually, Patreon backers already have it.
Shing. It's the PSP Go.
Oh, yeah, the ill-fated PSP Go.
It was neat. I never actually got this one working. This one was a dead unit from eBay. I found out what was wrong, but I was still learning how to do hardware stuff in high school on my own, so I didn't actually fix it. But it had like a dead power supply, internal power supply or something inside. But yeah, it was kind of neat. You know, it kind of slides up like that, and then you have your buttons and your little nub here.
Nub. Star Wars.
I was gonna say Noob from
No, Nub. I'm pretty sure is one of the Ewoks. Can anyone confirm that? Because that's important. I need to know. When will I go to the UK again? I have no current plans to do that. I like the UK. I'm not opposed to it. There's just no current plans to do that. It kind of boils down to when there's some sort of convention or event or something like that I've been invited to or wants me there for whatever reason. There was talk that I would be back in the UK in November 2018. I was offered that like a year ago, which I know is pretty far out even now still. I don't know if that's still happening, but I guess that would be the most probable time would be November 2018 if I get to go back to the UK anytime soon. Yub Nub apparently is what it is, not Nub Nub.
Huh. Let's see. There's still more Duckboat. Guys, Duckboat, no. No duck boat.
Rob Janos super chats. Thank you again. You get a chance. Toss the new Hey Arnold. Oh no. Have I seen the new Hey Arnold film? Hey Arnold, the Jungle. I would like to see it just out of curiosity. I was always more interested in that. I'm way more interested in that Rocko's Modern Life movie they did. Whenever that the fuck comes out, I want to see that. The Hey Arnold one's like, oh, that's cool. Oh yeah, sure, I'll watch that later. But
so I'm actually excited to watch that one because I grew up with that show and really, really liked it. Hey, and then they unfortunately were pushed to release their direct-to-TV movie into theaters, which failed miserably.
That movie was so bad, Nickelodeon released a public apology for the quality.
It's such a shame. That was not meant to be the theatrical movie.
It really wasn't meant for a theatrical release. The only part of Hey Arnold that was ever meant for a theatrical release is the pilot. If you watch it versus all the other episodes, the animation quality is totally different. Like the first episode of Cat Dog, completely different animation quality because it was meant to run in front of one of Nickelodeon's movies. So nerd alert. Thank you, Rob, for that. I got a PAL version of Shenmue 2 today. Couldn't play it because it's my Revision 2 Dreamcast won't load my boot disc. That's unfortunate. But to be honest with you, I've never had a Revision 2 Dreamcast. I've never even seen one. They're very uncommon, so that's kind of like winning a really bad lottery, unfortunately. Sorry about that. Are all the bad things I heard about Machinima true? The people who are... So Machinima has a terrible reputation, but all the people who had anything to do with that have not worked there for like a decade. Like, those people are long gone. Machinima has been nothing but great to us. I have no complaints. So Yub Nub was the name of the song from Return of the Jedi, I guess. No duck boat, not even for... So if someone super chats, he's asking, if somebody super chats asking you to confess to the existence of duck boats, would you do it?
No.
He has no reason to because he doesn't benefit from super chats. So.
I get none of the money. Why would I do that? No.
That would just be a nice gesture, jerk.
Never gonna happen.
It's never gonna happen. I'll admit to duck boats because I know they're real.
They're not real. They're not a thing.
Can we dive into that? Why do you deny duck boats? The people have a right to know. Exist? What more proof do you need?
What proof? I've never seen a duck boat.
You've seen photos of them.
That's not a duck boat.
How is that not a duck boat?
It's not real.
How is it not real?
Photoshop.
How is it photoshopped?
Magic.
Yeah, what a good argument. Again, you sound like a flat earther. It's ridiculous.
They don't exist. I keep kicking my modem here.
Yeah.
They don't exist. Not going to happen. Do I like Blue's Clues? That came out after I.
Yeah, that was past our childhoods.
Yeah, I mean, I remember that came out and I was watching Goku punch Frieza or something. I don't know. So let's see. Someone just got a Dreamcast. Good for you. Adam asks, "What's the Kadatum? What?"
Just ignore that. I think ignore that one. That's just bullshit.
Let's see. What is a theoretical duck boat? There is no theoretical duck boat because there's no duck boat. Goose boats. Nope. No. Swan boats. Now, swan boats exist, but they're just boats that look like swans. Those are things. I've seen those. I've been in one.
Really?
I've been in a swan boat.
But never a duck boat.
That's because duck boats don't exist.
Of course they exist. See, everybody says they exist. What's fucking wrong with you? Why? What is your end game with this?
What makes a majority opinion right?
The fact that they exist.
They don't exist.
There's a lot of holes in that argument.
No duck boat. All right, let's get back to real questions.
Okay.
Comments. Mac OS is literally feels like using Windows Vista. Performance-wise, I feel like Mac, the operating system, peaked at Snow Leopard when they actually focused on optimizing stuff. Let's see. Someone I don't know of was lip syncing.
You don't know who Mariah Carey is?
No, who is that?
I don't know anything about music, but even I know that one. That's bad.
I don't know names.
All right, then.
Thoughts on what Nintendo could do to make 2018 as much of a success as 2017 was?
I don't think they got it in them. Because, I mean, Nintendo doesn't seem to have a giant library of games ready to go this year. If you you look at 2017, the majority of the releases on the Switch were pretty much Wii U's greatest hits. Like you had Zelda, which was a fucking Wii U game. That's how they started the console. Their next big thing, Mario Kart 8, which was a fucking Wii U game. And then, of course, they did do other stuff along the way. I don't dispute that. But there was nothing huge, really, until Super Mario Odyssey, which, yes, is a legit Switch game, like a year in. And the upcoming year, we know some plans they've got, but it's all vague stuff that, like, for example, Metroid Prime 4, that was a trailer made in, like, 5 minutes in After Effects. Like, there's no actual development team tied to that. At least there wasn't at the time. I don't know what they've got going in 2018. I would expect more of the Wii U's greatest hits. I think right now 2018 is a lot of them doing development. I think you're going to get a lot more third-party support in 2018 than you will Nintendo support. That's my guess. Now, can they keep that afloat? Maybe, probably. I don't see it like collapsing, but I don't know if it's going to be the juggernaut that people are expecting.
I have no clue. I mean, to be honest, I was surprised that they got so much of a reception this year with the Switch.
Yeah, that took me by surprise too. I made a video on my predictions. I was dead wrong about that. And I admit to it. Every day I still get shit about it. It's like, yeah, sorry, I don't have a time machine. What do you want?
Oh, hey, Megan's here.
Huh?
Megan's here.
She is. Stalkerbot.
Okay, let's see. I think she was in the last one. The last live stream you did,
right? Yeah, she pops in and out. She's always lurking. That's why she earned the name Stalkerbot. Yeah, she's an admin. And she will not take your shit. She's nicer than Livia. Livia will fucking destroy you. Livia's not here. You guys are lucky. She's asleep. Otherwise, you guys would be in a world of hurt. I don't know why. She'll just take it out on everybody.
Let's see. Pokemon and Smash Brothers for Switch.
Well, Pokken Tournament was already a thing. If you're thinking like a traditional Pokemon game, I could see them doing that. But do we have any idea if that's in development? No. And Smash Brothers, I will bet you, gets the Wii U version gets ported to the Switch. But again, that's another one of those things. They haven't announced it. Nintendo is not very good at that. When they announce something, they're usually pretty close to releasing it. Traditionally, there are obviously exceptions, but
if they did port over the Wii U Smash Brothers, wouldn't they be missing certain characters? Because they got the license only for that one instance, right?
My guess is Nintendo could work that out, and I think you'd actually have additional characters, probably all the DLC characters that were in there. Is my guess. I don't like. What character can you think of that they simply could not get back?
I mean, I'm trying to remember what there's so many characters in that game. I'm trying to remember what
there's a lot
there.
of licensed ones, like Ryu from Capcom owns him.
Yeah.
Sonic, obviously Sega has. Pac-Man,
Mega Man's in there.
Mega Man, Bayonetta. And Cloud, Final Fantasy.
Oh yeah, Cloud was in there.
I can't see any of those characters actually not being allowed on there because every one of those companies has a fine relationship with Nintendo and likes money. Shovel Knight, I'm sure that'll work out just fine.
Wait, Shovel Knight was in the...
Yeah, I think so, because you got an amiibo, right? Maybe I'm wrong about that.
I don't know.
I thought Shovel Knight was in Smash Brothers, but I could be wrong about that.
I actually don't own the latest Smash Brothers game for the Wii U.
The thing is, I kind of lost track of it because they started doing a bunch of DLC characters, and I just stopped paying attention.
Yeah, I just preferred it when they had all the characters where you could just unlock them through doing something, not have to pay for it or whatever. Let's see. What shows did you like from your childhood? I'll use that for both of us. Were there any shows that you watched growing up that you liked?
Of course. I'm human.
Give me examples.
Some of my favorites when I was like a young kid: Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, Rocker's Modern Life, Ren and Stimpy, The Simpsons, Beast Wars, G1 Transformers. That would be that era.
Okay. I remember what I grew up watching.
Shovel Knight is not in Smash. My bad, everybody.
It could be later. Who knows? Let's see. He-Man was fun. And I watched the Herculoids, I think that's what it was called. And they had like Gloop and Gleep or something.
That sounds so familiar.
I mean, a lot of these were 80s. I also watched the 90s. SWAT Cats was really good. I love SWAT Cats.
You made a big deal about SWAT Cats on one of the podcasts. I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
We almost called that episode Podcats.
SWAT Cats is great. They actually had a Kickstarter. I think it's a Kickstarter trying to get funding to reboot the series, and they didn't make it, unfortunately. Because it was a shame because they basically ended on a recap episode, which is really disappointing. There's no kind of conclusion, no big build-up, or no fun, exciting episodes. It's just like a news reporter going through the SWAT Cat's previous episodes, which is a little disappointing. I love the art style there. What was the... Did you remember a show? I don't know if you ever saw it. There's a show that was, I think it was some knights that got turned into skeletons, and they rode motorcycles.
That has a vague memory in my mind. Skeleton Warriors or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. I remember that one.
I'll ask them to describe it more. Somebody's going to know.
I'm trying to remember. It's pretty vague. I think it was knights, but they were kind of in the future because they had some technology, and they did something where I think it was a brother fighting against his other brother who was bad, and they ended up turning each other to skeletons, or they turned the bad brother and his side into skeletons or something, and so now it's them fighting the skeletons or skeletons fighting. I can't remember.
Yeah.
I just remember they were like on motorcycles that could fly, or motorcycles.
I remember motorcycle mice from Mars.
Oh, I forgot about that one.
The mid '90s, the early to mid '90s was like a wasteland of TMNT and Power Rangers clones. Like it's insane. So like there's so many shows that spawned from that crap.
Code Lyoko, I remember that one. I did watch that one. I think Code Lyoko was made by a French studio. I'm trying to remember. Maybe Remy would know that.
Yeah, Remy knows all about that shit.
But it was actually darker than I expected. Cause I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to remember what the premise was. It was something like there was this evil being or something that controlled some sort of virtual world that they had to keep going into for some reason. Because I think that it kept taking control of things in the real world and making them attack people. And a lot of times the episodes would end with people about to die and they'd reset the world or something. And that was about to die in the real world. Like an elevator was about to collapse, or they were about to be crushed by some robot with boxes, or I can't remember. It was interesting. Other shows. I'm going down like a memory lane now. Hey Arnold was good.
Yep.
I watched a lot of the Toonami stuff. So I remember the first anime I ever watched was Robotech, which I think was called Macross or something in Japan.
Sounds about right.
That was amazing. Apparently they heavily butchered the release in the US, where they cut up different clips and they didn't make sense half the time. And apparently at one point they lost the footage, so they had to make up the flashbacks and make new footage that didn't even have the same flashback. But as a kid, didn't care. And I still have all that, I think, on DVD. It was still good. I still like that one. Of course, I'd watched Cowboy Bebop. That was good. And Trigun and all those things. I'm trying to think of other classic cartoons. Of course, I grew up with the Dexter's Laboratory.
That's a good show. That first season has been on DVD and just nothing since.
I remember watching Johnny Bravo, and what's interesting that I did not know for the longest time, and it makes sense because I was curious about why it changed so much. Because did you ever watch Johnny Bravo?
Of course. Again, first season on DVD, but all the rest of the seasons only released on DVD in fucking Thailand and Australia. Australians, hook me up. I want that shit. Anyway, go on.
But anyway, so it turns out I found out why the show changed so drastically from the first season to the rest of them. All of the writers from the first season left. So they had none of the original writers for the later seasons, which I did not know was a thing that could happen, but apparently it did. So the first season, you had Johnny Bravo as being this macho guy that was trying to be a ladies' man and just being more of a jerk. And then in all the later seasons, he became like a mama's boy and like a wimp, and it was really, really weird and stupid. So I love the first season.
I imagine that most of my memories come from the first season.
The first season was to me the only season that was really worth watching. And the later ones,
probably why that's the only one they put on a DVD.
I guess so. Oh, other anime that's more obscure that I watched at one point. Of course, Gundam Wing and G Gundam and Evangelion and all those are good. But the ones that I watched that I really enjoyed were Master Keaton. That's a really fun, relaxing one. Master Keaton, and Monster is a really good psychological thriller about a surgeon who saves a boy who was shot in the head over saving a very famous mayor or something. He's in Germany, and so he basically gets thrown aside. His career gets in shambles, and poor guy later, the kid he saved who disappeared became a serial killer and started going on killing people he knows, and it keeps you on your toes throughout the whole show. So that's a really good one to watch. There you go. There's some shows I could go on forever.
Yeah, we could.
Yeah. Did I ever watch Yu-Gi-Oh or collect the cards? I I did collect the cards for a while. I did watch Yu-Gi-Oh! I actually tried to watch. I was curious what it was like, kind of entering back in the same fray again. I was watching a little bit of Yu-Gi-Oh! A couple of months ago to see what it was like, and it makes no sense. The show makes no sense, and the transitions are terrible. Where you wonder if you missed episodes because they just kind of just jump to random places, and it's just at least the first seasons are awful. Maybe the later ones got better, but I only watched it when he was on the island with the millionaire guy, or billionaire Pegasus. Yeah, but I had the cards for a while. I tried collecting Pokemon cards, then I had Yu-Gi-Oh! And tried to do that. I did Magic the Gathering for a bit. I might try to do that again soon with some friends here, and got into some Dominion. If any of you played Dominion, that's a fun game, and also played a game called Catacombs where you flick these pieces at each other. It's kind of like a D&D game, but more interactive in terms of physical, like flicking tokens at other tokens. It's fun. Those are some fun games.
I was doing a thing while you were talking.
Yeah.
Check this out. Actually, you can't see it for a little bit. So here's the thing. Chip can't see what I'm doing. He can't see until it catches up like you guys. So here's what no, I wasn't reaching for Cheetos. I wish I had fucking Cheetos. But no, what I was looking for was this, which you guys are going to see at the exact same time as Chip. He doesn't know what I'm holding up to the camera right now.
You got such a big grin on your face.
I do.
Oh my gosh.
The other thing I got is this. Oh.
I can't see it yet.
Yeah, you will.
This is a pretty big delay.
In a minute. Oh, it's going to be so crazy. It's going to be so crazy. It's not that crazy.
What? Dexter's Laboratory. Is that DVD or Blu-ray? What
DVD,
is that?
season 1.
Nice, man. That's good.
Yeah, it's good.
Oh, you have Johnny Bravo!
Season 1, motherfucker!
What? Johnny Bravo's so good.
We just got a super chat. Those are Norwegian kroners. That is not $1,000, by the way, everybody. But that's Norwegian kroners. That's 1,000 kroners. It just says, thanks for the great videos, man. Well, thank you very much to DJ Hogges. If you have a question or anything, let us know. Because I think 1,000 kroners is still like $200 or something. I don't know the translation, the currency conversion of that offhand. If anybody could tell me, I'd like to know. But thank you very much. And dude, if you have a question or anything, let me know. It is not $1,000, everybody. It's still a lot of money, I'm sure.
Tokyo Pop of Initial D. Tokyo Pop reminds me. I'm actually going to grab a comic book. When I was a kid, I had this, and I've not really seen this mentioned anywhere. I think it was made in the U.S., but I think it was published by, I think they're called Tokyo Pop, or used to be called Tokyo Pop. They may be defunct now.
Well, it even says Tokyo Pop. Is that a German publisher?
I thought as a comic book publisher that they would bring over stuff from Japan and translate it. Is that what I'm thinking of? Tokyo Pop?
It's keyboard time.
Yeah, it's on the keyboard.
Currency conversion says it's $120, which is exceedingly generous. Thank you very much, DJ Hogges. Seriously, thank you. If you have a question, dude, put it on there. I appreciate it.
Yeah, Tokyo Pop was an American distributor and publisher of anime, manga, and stuff. They're defunct, I think, now, or at least the majority of them are, because I think they dropped a lot of their stuff. But I'm going to grab something and see if any of the audience has read this or knows what it is, because I got this a long time ago.
Well, wait. We got a comment about that. I think Tokyo Pop is American. They basically removed all the Eurobeat and replaced it with rap and pop garbage, made shitty edits, and added awful voice acting.
I never saw any of the anime. I just know they were one of the early ones to do things like, I can't remember if they were in control of the English version of the manga or whatever of Sailor Moon and a couple of those.
This is a really weird angle, dude. It's like we're just looking at your tits.
Oh, hey, oh.
We appreciate you showing off the twins for everybody, but
1 second.
For the record, Chip does not have twins. I was just being an asshole. So while he figures that out, hey everybody, what's going on? Guys, we got to play a trick on him. We got to convince him about duck boats. We have to show him that duck boats are a thing. Will you work with me? Can we just come back and just have him see like a horde of just hashtag duck boat? I'd love that. Oh, he's coming back.
Oh, that for nothing.
Hey, it's that guy we weren't talking about while he was gone. Hey.
Wait, what were you saying now?
No, nothing.
Oh, okay.
Nothing.
If it has to do with duck boats, then
no, I would never do that. No, that's ridiculous.
If you told them to mention anything about duck boats existing,
I would never. I would never do that. I would never do that.
Anyway, I remembered that my books are all still packed. I'm getting a library put together in January, so I'll have those available later.
Guys, what's going on?
That's a nice shirt.
Oh, look at all that. What's happening? What is that? Duck boats. What? Why did they suddenly decide to talk about duck boats? I don't get it. Why would they do that?
If I had glasses, I'd pull them down and look sternly at all of you in the chat, but instead I will just do nothing. You guys are terrible. Why is it that they only... No, Megan, why? Why?
Hashtag duck boat, man.
I am disappointed in all of you. You are all better than this. You are all more reasonable than this. To acknowledge something that Adam has claimed to be real that is not real is just indulging in his fantasy. You are helping someone who's clearly sick mentally for acknowledging duck boat become more mentally unstable.
Every single one of you has Google. Every single one of you knows I'm not lying.
So duck boat is not a thing.
I've ridden in duck boats. They're a thing.
Not.
Lyndon Johnson, former president of the United States, used to intimidate people by driving in a duck boat with them, ramming into the water, making them think they were about to die, and then it floats.
No.
That's a thing he used to do as an intimidation tactic.
Duck
it's
boats.
Real.
Not a thing.
It is
never a thing. If duck boats were
real... Where was
real...
Lyndon Johnson from? Texas. Where are you from? Texas. Bam.
I'm not from Texas. I just live in Texas right now.
Duck boats for life.
That makes no sense. Also,
Texas,
yes,
duck boats.
Tuba242 is an amazing shirt.
Duck boat,
no,
Texas.
No, there is no tuck. I was supposed to say tuck boats. There are no duck boats. If we had duck boats, we'd be flying to Pluto and declaring it a planet again.
No, they don't do that. They just go in water and land.
Duck boats, not a thing.
Duck boats.
I cannot believe all of you succumb to Adam's duck boat prodding. You're all becoming mentally ill with duck boat.
Duck boats.
Yeah.
We might have to rename the podcast to Duck Boat.
Yes, this is still live. Said someone.
Yeah, I get that question a lot when I do these things. Holy shit, you're still going?
Oh yeah, we have been going.
We have been going for over 3 hours. My record is like 10 minutes shy of 6 hours.
We're not doing that.
I know. I'm not intending to do that.
Yeah. Maybe let's go for another 20 minutes and call it.
Okay. It's Chip's decision because he's the one who has to like get up and stuff. You have a flight tomorrow. He's got a flight tomorrow, not me.
It's early in the morning too, so I'm going to have to basically pack and then not sleep.
Yeah, I am familiar with that one.
Oh, I'm sure you are. You are the king of packing and not sleeping. Especially since you can't sleep on the flights. I don't understand how
I can't. It sucks.
That does suck.
The best sleep I ever got on a flight, though, was the last time I came back from Japan, from Tokyo back to Chicago. That plane was basically empty, so I had an entire row of economy plus seats. I just made it into a bed, clocked out about an hour in, woke up, we were basically landing. I slept for like 8 hours on a plane. It was amazing. Oh man, it was refreshing.
Oh, everyone keeps asking why I'm in denial of duck boats.
What?
The question
It's a valid question.
The question I want to propose back: why are you believing that duck boats are real? When did it become a thing that people believed what they saw on the internet and believed some random person for what they said on the internet?
Because people can also go and see them at actual places. You can ride in duck boat tours.
Has anyone ridden one?
Duck boat tours.
I don't think I've heard anyone ride one.
I did.
You're some guy on the internet.
Johnson,
I can't believe you.
36th president of the United States. 36th president of the United States owned his own fucking duck boat.
I don't believe it. It was a term coined to mean a normal boat.
Yeah.
And then...
But it also has wheels.
No. It was a normal boat that he thought looked like the shape of a duck, and it wasn't.
Okay, whatever. Would I ride a Shenmue-themed duck boat? Of course I would. Why wouldn't I do that?
I'm trying to read these comments.
I like Remy threatening you.
Oh, is he?
I will make you say that duck boat is the true Lord and Savior.
Megan, you've not
so
ridden
funny
a duck
I
boat.
belched.
I don't believe you.
Megan
no one's ridden a duck
boat.
boats. Duck boats don't exist. We are done. No more duck boat. All right. So anyway, back to actual things that are important, unlike duck boat.
I don't know. Duck boats are pretty important. How do you drive on the land and in the water in the same vehicle without a duck boat.
You don't.
Yeah, exactly. Hence the need for
Don't
duck
do
boat.
that, period, because that's a stupid idea.
How's that stupid? We rode in traffic in San Francisco. There was a whole bay of water. If we had a duck boat, look who's not in traffic.
No, you're just asking about driving on land and then trying to drive through water. You just sink.
No, because you have a duck boat. Boat. It's actually in the name.
No. No.
All right.
No boats.
I think he's got a point. I think the reason you denied duck boats is you really want me to take you to ride a duck boat. Just as like this is like some weird psychological thing where you really just want to ride a duck boat, but you've been afraid to do it on your own, so you need someone. It makes sense. Suddenly it fits up.
Let's see. What was I going to... I was going to bring something up and I forgot what it was.
Okay. You were talking about like anime or something.
Oh, that was a while ago. I didn't find the board game I was talking about. Let me show you Catacombs. It's a show and tell day.
Okay. Brenton says, I've been waiting for you to stop so we can watch from the start. Well, presumably we're going to stop in like 15 minutes. Then it'll take a while for YouTube to process it. Then I'm going to have to edit out the beginning because we had a sound mistake, which I'll have to cut out because it's like 2 minutes of just silence. And then that'll take a while to process, and then it'll be okay.
All right, so let's see. So let me get this in the frame again. So here is the game, Catacombs. It's a pretty big box. And it's a board game you play. And you have these boards that will unfold, like so. And you have a variety of monster tokens that you flick at one another. If I can get these out.
Have you ever seen Batman Returns?
The movie?
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you remember the part where Penguin rode in a duck boat?
No.
Yeah, you do. You fucking liar.
It's not a thing. I don't know what's
It had
wrong with
wheels. It was literally in the shape of a duck, and it floated on the water.
You were referencing a movie.
I want
Movies
to give
are not
credit.
real.
I want to give credit to where the hell did he go? BioShocking for bringing up that reference. That's not even the type of duck boat I was thinking about, but it's totally fucking accurate.
Not a thing. Never a thing.
He
never will be a
admitted
thing.
he had seen the movie. You guys know I'm right.
I seen the movie. There was no duck boat.
Liar.
No.
Charlatan.
Okay, we're derailing with duck boats. We got to get back on track. Someone give us a decent question that's not about a chicken boat.
Instead, we're talking about catacombs. That's what everybody was tuning in for.
Oh yeah. Well, I doubt anyone tuned in for duck boats. It's not even in the
I don't
subjects.
know, man. People are pretty excited about that duck boat.
I don't know why. Your view count's going down, man. No one wants to hear about duck boats.
Yeah. That is a valid point.
Yeah, you dropped down a little bit.
Yeah, that's fine. It's also getting
All
later.
right. That's true. Okay, we gotta get a subject. Okay, Adam, you ask a question. What is a question you want to ask me?
I'm going to ask you a question.
Yes.
You know what I'm going to ask you, so you probably shouldn't.
It's not going to be about duck boats.
It might be, so maybe you should just move on.
Anything that's unrelated to duck boats.
Those boats that are related to a certain type of fowl, why do you deny their existence? That's your fault, man. I warned you, and you pushed it. You pushed too far.
Well, I'm just going to ignore it now. That's
fine.
the point. You wasted your chance to ask me anything.
Good. I'm glad.
That was my one question AMA, I guess. That's what those are called?
This is an AMA, but you can ask anything to Chip apparently except about duck boats. He gets very offended.
They don't exist, so it's pointless. Figure it out, boat. Well, you would figure it out that it's not a duck boat.
I would figure out that it is.
Adam, you still have a picture of you holding the Sega Genesis?
So
you guys are good.
I know exactly what he's talking about. There was this Christmas where that's where I got a Sega Genesis Model 2 as a kid. That was like my first, like, holy shit, I have my own console. And there was a photo of it. I lost that photo, and then years later I found it, and I wanted to show you guys, but I lost it again. So I have to find it. It's somewhere at, I'm sure at my mom's place. I'm sure it's there somewhere. I just have to find it again.
Okay, then.
Did I like the show, Nickelodeon show, Figure It Out? Yes, I did. All right, so here's the thing. When I was a kid, I actually wanted to be on that show. I wanted to enter it because I'm like double jointed. Like my arms like do all sorts of freaky shit that I can't really show you at this particular angle. Yeah, I think I've shown you Chip before, right?
I don't know why you would have, but...
Yeah, I don't bring it up much anymore because nobody seems to care. Which, why would you? It's kind of like a high school era thing, but like I can twist my arms in all sorts of ways that are extraordinarily unnatural. But the angle I've got this camera at will never illustrate that properly. So I thought I could get on the show by that, but of course I never actually entered because I was just a kid. But that would have been cool. Some of the contests that they had was like, oh, this kid can eat an entire watermelon. I'm like, my competition is low.
Let's see. Nick Sims asks if the PC Engine is worth buying. He's trying to get one.
Asking you?
He's just asking in general.
Depends. I mean, it's a great console, don't get me wrong. If I were you, I would say yes, but I would try to get one from somebody living in Japan because they are stupid cheap over there, as opposed to the import prices you're going to pay. When you look on eBay, they're much more expensive on eBay than they actually are in a Japanese store. Again, tomorrow, watch my book off video, and I have a hard off video coming out in a few days after that. I pick up some cool shit because in Japan, that stuff is worthless. It's a great console, but if I were you... here's my recommendation, unless you really care about the collecting aspect of it, which of course usually I do. I'd say get a TurboGrafx 16, get the AV engine block so you can get RGB out of it with no modification required. I did a video on that. And then get yourself like a Turbo EverDrive and use that. It's region free, just has this little switch on it, and see if you like the console. If you do, then you can spend the money to get the PC engine because the flash drive will still work, the AV engine block will still work. That's what I would recommend.
I would say that I know I got a PC Engine Duo a while back from PCEngineFX.com.
Yeah.
It's a forum community thing.
Did you get the Turbo Duo or the PC Duo? The PC Duo is the Japanese
PC
one. Okay.
So yeah, I got the Japanese one. But it's been modded to be able to, it's been modded to do a bunch of stuff. I can't remember if it needed to be modded to do the region, if there's region locking or not for it, but it can basically play any of the games and has better output and that kind of stuff. I know there's quite a few folks that, I don't know if they live in Japan or if they just had a stockpile from Japan, but they'll do modding for you and sell it at a decent price. It's definitely beats the eBay prices that are way inflated. There's actually a guy that goes by Keith Courage on PCEngineFX.com, or at least he did back when I got this years ago. And he was selling modded versions and threw in quite a few games too for a pretty good price. So there's some folks there that know what they're doing and will give you a decent price. I mean, you're starting to get cheaper if you can go there and get it.
Yeah.
But
you have to be going there for whatever reason.
Yeah. But they can give you, if you're not going to go there, the folks in that community can give you a much better deal than you get on eBay and more reliable. I know when my PC Engine Duo I thought got fried from a power surge. I sent it back to the guy because I'm like, hey, I think I got it fried. And he's like, oh, send it back. Turns out it was just the power supply that got fried, and the system itself worked. But I didn't have an alternative power supply to try it out with, so I couldn't verify that at the time.
Yep. But
yeah, there's some good folks there.
That's my situation with the Neo Geo CD front loader. I picked one up at Super Potato in Tokyo, $18, but it was marked as broken. The reason I think that it's considered broken is because it didn't have a power supply, and those power supplies are incredibly unique. So there's nothing I can do with it until I find a power supply at some point. But I wasn't going to pass on a fucking Neo Geo CD front loader for $18, you know. But I'd like to be able to fix that at some point. Yeah, going to Japan, that's the best way to do it. But obviously, you have to have some other way that that's going to happen. Like in my case, I can't tell you the full story of my last time out to Tokyo because it's weird. But I got to go there for very strange reasons. So I didn't have to pay for the flight or the hotel or any of that shit. So, and then the thing I was there for got canceled. So I got to spend like 5 days in Yokosuka, as coincidence would have it. That's where Shenmue takes place. And that place is great.
Oh, yeah, you did a video on that.
Yeah, I did. And that place is great, man. If I were you, I would try to make friends in Japan, and I'm telling you, you'll find them in Yokosuka. There's a lot of Americans living there. It's almost like we have bases there, and it's almost like a little embassy. It's like Disneyland's interpretation of Japan. It's weird. It's like half Americans, half Japanese. So there's a lot of Americans there, a lot of native English speakers wandering around. And even the Japanese in that area are really very fluent in English because they're just used to it. So that's an area, if you have like, I'm afraid to go to Japan, I want to try it, but I'm a little afraid, I'm a little intimidated, go to Yokosuka first, and that'll be your like integration. And then you kind of go out in other places. Also a good place to pick up stuff cheap too. Because when I was there, one thing I was told was Yokosuka is interesting for pickups because a lot of tourists go there and a lot of people live there who are like, hey, I want to buy Japanese stuff because I'm living in Japan now. How crazy is that? And then they realize they have to move and they're like, well, I don't need all this shit. And then they dump it all back into the game stores. So you have these game stores that are basically just people's collections that actually give a shit about the collection, as opposed to Japanese people who tend to just get rid of it, but they do so for like conservative reasons because they just don't want to throw it away. Which is a little different. So basically you have some stores with just like primo amounts of stuff because it was just somebody who cherry picked everything and then dumped all those cherry picked items into one store.
Neat.
Did I ask where sailors might hang out? Dude, watch my Yokosuka video. I did a Shenmue Yokosuka video. If you like Shenmue, it'll give you like nostalgia vibes. It's crazy. And yeah, my experience there taught me that Rio did not try that hard to find sailors because they're fucking everywhere.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry. Go on, buddy. And yes, they have beds in Japan. I slept on beds.
That's good, at least.
Yeah.
I don't know. Who's Clive Barker?
I don't know. Name sounds familiar.
Mega Long asked, if Clive Barker made another video game, what kind of video game would you like it to be based on?
I'm sure like a lot of people just got mad at us for saying that, but I know the name, but I'd be lying if I said I could connect it to anything specific.
I don't know who that is. I'm terrible with names, though, so I never know who anyone is.
Japan has the right idea. Old consoles are trash. Dude, what are you doing on this channel? like this is a retro gaming channel with like no interest in PC gaming. Like, I mean, I appreciate you're here. You've asked a bunch of legit questions and obviously we're all entitled to our own opinions and everything, but like, what are you doing here?
All right, we're at the 5-minute mark. Do we want to do something in the next 5 minutes?
This is your last chance for priority with like super chats or PayPal or any of that stuff. But beyond that, I would say just do Power Round. Oh, Clive Barker's Jericho. Yes, that's why I know that name. I never played that game, but I know what you're talking about. Horror
Explain
director.
it for me.
Okay, all right.
You can explain it?
What?
I asked you to explain it to me. I don't know.
What? I was listening.
To Clive Barker. I don't know who that is.
He's a horror game director.
For
Makes
what?
horror games.
Like what?
Clive Barker's Jericho.
What is Jericho?
That was the name of his game.
On what?
I know I have 360. I think I have it.
Okay. I had no idea what it was or who that person was. So I was trying to get context.
Today you have grown. You have learned who Clive Barker is, and you've learned about a certain vehicle.
I knew that this certain vehicle did not exist, and I still know that. Let's see.
So I guess we're in Power Round question time.
I guess. I mean, what are we getting here?
Oh, this is a good one. Is your production name Figure It Out taken from the Nickelodeon show? No. Even though I did watch that. Figure It Out comes from... All right, so when you hear that at the beginning and Figure It Out, that's not my voice. That's my cousin. We went back when I was in college. I did this short film, and he acted in it, which tells you everything you need to know about the quality of the film. But... there was this line he could never quite get right. It was literally figured out. He was supposed to be like a police officer, like interrogating somebody, and he could not say that line consistently to save his life. Every single take was completely fucking different, and we just laughed about it, and it just kept being a thing. We just kept saying it all the time, and then that combined with the fact that when you're on a film set, figure it out is one of the most 5 common expressions you'll hear other than like, fuck, shit, just do it again. I don't know, figure it out. People are always stressed out on film sets. So I was like, There you go. That's the name of my company. Figured Out Productions.
There you go.
Chip, your turn.
Question-wise... Well, someone asked if... Well, they asked if Shenmue 3 will suck. I would want to transform that into... Adam, are you concerned that Shenmue 3's hype that it had for existing is going to make people disappointed with the final result?
Oh, hell yes.
Yeah?
Yeah, oh yeah. Shenmue 3 is, I think, will be a perfectly fine game. I don't have any delusion that it will be a groundbreaking game like Shenmue 1 was, because the technology is totally different. The budget is different. The intention is different. It's not going to be that type of groundbreaking game. What it needs to be is a serviceable sequel. And that's what I think it will be. But I think a lot of people are expecting to get that same like awe-inspired holy shit experience. You can't get that again. Technology has gone too far. Too many other games have done that type of thing. And the other part that's annoying is I know a bunch of people are going to say like, hey, Shenmue 1 and 2 had like 1 million NPCs walking around in giant cities and villages and all this shit. But Shenmue 3 is like entirely in a Chinese tiny village with like 20 people. It's like, yeah, because even Shenmue 2 told you that's exactly where it was going to take place. But people are going to assume that's due to budget cuts. It's like, no, that's because that was where the story is supposed to go. So I think you're in for a bit of a dangerous storm there when it comes out. But fuck that. I'm going to play this game and I'm going to enjoy it.
Okay,
Hopefully.
well, there you go.
Unless it's fucking like Mighty Number 9 levels. But that what gives me confidence is the fact that they chose to delay the game rather than rush it out. I'm like, yeah, take all the time you need. Let Yu Suzuki make his game. Go for it, Chip. Go for it. Chip, did you watch Nick Arcade? Asks Kyle.
I don't know what Nick Arcade is.
I did. I remember that show.
So the answer is no. Did not watch that. What did I watch? When was that?
That was early 90s.
What did I watch then? Probably Scooby-Doo. I watched a lot of Scooby-Doo.
Right on. So I want you, Chip, to pick the last question, a good one that we can both answer. And you can decide who answers first.
All right, well, just got to wait for one to pop up.
Yep,
All
so
right,
you guys,
folks.
quality question time. Yeah, this is the last question. Unless
For
somebody
both of us,
super chats
please.
or whatever, but other than that, last question.
Oh. I'm also curious, Adam, do I get a delay from looking at the public stream of chat?
You get it. Yeah. Yes.
So I feel like you've seen stuff earlier than I have, too.
I see it. Well, I see the chat in real time. I see the video delayed. We actually just got a donation, so we're going to do this first. This is not the last thing. Robert Janos donated. He says, is there a beloved game or console that you had during your childhood that you don't have anymore and are yet to rebuy? Personally, no. I was always kind of the philosophy, like, don't get rid of your crap, and I never did. The couple of things I ever got rid of that I did regret, like I got rid of Super Mario 64 as a kid, and that was dumb as shit, and I got it back relatively quickly. The only game I remember getting rid of that I've never gotten back from my childhood was like this Spider-Man game on Game Boy, the original Game Boy, and I thought it sucked. So I did not miss that and still don't. But aside from that, no, because I conditioned my mother very well. I was like, don't get rid of my shit. Just because I'm going to college, that doesn't mean this leaves. You understand me? And she was like, yeah, I don't give a fuck. So that was probably her actual expression. I don't give a fuck. So it doesn't matter. I never had that problem. Chip?
Who was that last question by? Because
that was by Rob Janos.
Okay, so we got his question.
Yeah,
then.
that was him. So that one does not count as the final. I'm sorry, Rob, because you bought that question. So you get the question, but then we got to get a real final one.
All right, let's do one that's more festive. Since
No, you got to answer that question too, buddy.
I have to answer that question?
Yeah, you do.
What was the question?
It was, did you ever sell or get rid of anything from your childhood that you are yet to rebuy that you want back? Video game wise.
No.
Console
the only
or game?
No, not really. I think the only thing was there was a game I rented that I never actually owned, and I don't know what the game was, and I've yet to find it again.
Can you describe it?
The problem was I was trying to rent a different game, and they gave me the wrong game by mistake, or they gave me an extra game or something. I thought it might have been a Final Fantasy game. I think it was for the PlayStation. I think it had crude 3D graphics that was an RPG. All I remember is like some folks going into what looked like an industrial town, and were being challenged by what looked like ninjas or something, but they were calling them monsters, so maybe they were like mutated people. I don't know. But got no idea.
Well, this is a perfect crowd to try and help you with that problem.
Yeah, it looked like an interesting RPG, but I don't know what it was, and I've never figured it out. I got it from a movie gallery rental.
So here's the thing. If somebody finds the correct answer, and you can prove it's the right thing, you have to not only thank that person, but you have to admit to duck boats being real, if that person wants you to. If that person wants you to.
If they found it, and I could verify from whatever they found that, yes, indeed, it matched whatever I was thinking of in my childhood head, then I would consider taking another look.
Not consider.
At the possibility.
You have to admit to reality.
No.
All right, well, never mind. Nobody help him. We tried to be nice.
All right, let me see.
Are you picked the final question there?
Yeah, there's a question I want to go through because it's more appropriate for the theme. most memorable Christmas, since we're very close to it.
I think there was one when I was a kid. Well, do you want to go first? Or you want me to go first? You choose.
You've already started.
Okay.
Go ahead.
When I was a kid, I remember this was probably the most, like, when I still believed in Santa. This was probably my most, like, I definitely believe in Santa Claus year. Mm-hmm. I woke up. There was, a whole bunch of things I was excited about. I wanted all that shit. But I came down and, like, the Christmas area was full of, like, giant, like Power Wheels cars and, like, plastic trucks that had been put together, like vehicles kids could ride. And there was so many of the things I had said I wanted. Like, that was the thing, I think, the year I got the Genesis and stuff like that. And it was like every item on my list fucking there. And even things like the plastic trucks, it's like those things are huge. So I was like, my mom couldn't have hid those anywhere. That's impossible. Obviously Santa brought them because they took up so much space. So it was just, I was totally convinced that was real. Like, he had just magically put them there. That's just what Santa did. Now, of course, my mom later told me, like, fucking, I spent all night putting those stupid things together. But, like, at the time, I was totally into that shit. I was like, I believe it. So that was probably my most, like, quote unquote magical Christmas.
I'm trying to remember. I think the one I remember the most clearly was when the PS2 first came out. I was saving up for almost a year to get one. Like, so I guess first came out, I then started saving for about a year. And I kept saving, and I can't remember what exactly happened, but something happened where I basically lost the money I'd been saving. And so my parents were asking at one point, "Are you excited to get your PS2 you've been saving for?" And I told them, "Oh no, I don't have the money anymore. I can't get one, and I'm just gonna give up." And that was right before Christmas. I just remember Christmas happening, and they had these clues laid like strewn about throughout our house. There were different riddles that I had to keep solving. They're actually challenging for me at the time. And eventually, it took me all the way through the whole house to where I found a PS2 sitting. And I think it was more about I had no idea it was coming moment than anything else. That was just like the most memorable. It's like I was not expecting it because I kept telling them how much I was trying to save up myself to get one. And then I gave up. I'm like, well, if I gave up, it's not going to show up now, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So that's probably the most surprising in terms of a gift received.
Right on.
Yeah.
Well, all right, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us on the stream and watching. Thank you for the donations, super chats, PayPals, all that stuff. Thank you for watching and being awesome. I want to, of course, thank Chip for reuniting, showing up, being here, answering your questions.
Remy was here too. So
he was. He's still here, I think. Yeah, maybe one time we'll do all three of us or something. A little podcast reunion, after we get to the 1 year anniversary or something. Actually, I've been doing that podcast for over a year. That's fucked up.
Can you believe it?
Yes.
Anyway,
so tomorrow, guys, the Tokyo book off video come out. If you're a Patreon backer, it's already out. You can go see it right now if you want, which you can information on that in the description. So again, thank you very much, Chip, for joining me, and I guess we'll see you guys later. Have a happy holidays, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.